short the World Boxing Association because, well, I mean, you have a sport that, you know, kind of just lost its way a little bit, and no one. Well, a second, that's not controversial. Everyone's like, what, UFC clean the clock. Am I wrong about that? I don't know. Anyways, doesn't really matter. What a crazy move that we just had. What is Obi doing? Of course he's having a good time. The market's back to green. Although we've been, you know, it's been a little bit volatile. You have all kinds of, sorry, I'm looking at Mara here. I don't know why, because we're in IBIT. Oh, I do know why, because I like Mara at VWAP. But anyways, everything has been bouncing. This is one of those days where the volatility, like sometimes we'll come into the afternoon, you're like, okay, you can get those moves in the afternoon that resemble the moves from the morning. This is one of those situations where I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's probably not going to happen. Because the idea that you can, like IBIT went, I think 3 and change, like it was about a 6.5% to 7% move bottom to top. Like the number of things that did huge percentage moves from bottom to top, it's hard to think you're going to see that this afternoon. So I think you have to maybe adjust your expectations relative to what we were able to see this morning. But you know, from a rumor that spiked us to the upside to it's just a rumor, and then we settled back in. We didn't even go, well, we did go red on the NASDAQ for a little bit, but then we came back solidly green. So, you know, just in the remnants of what we had from earlier, I don't know that you can say the bottom is in at this particular point. You even had like a negative headline from the EU saying, you know, they want to put 25% on
I saw that.
Some steel stuff. So I think there's still the possibility that you can see some negativity come through. But for now, you have a really good relief rally where maybe some shorts have been doing some covering. And what we saw out of volatility was completely insane. They said, like, I shouldn't say I've never seen it because I know VXY has halted before. I just can't remember the last time I saw it. That's the better way to think about it. And it halted down this morning. I mean, you had Palantir halted down this morning, and that's after the up move. Like, it was completely insane. We probably don't see too much of that going forward, but it was certainly fun while it lasted. You could have picked anything today that was trading wild. Like things that normally do like 1%, 0.5%, were doing like 5%, 6%. It was wild.
Yeah, it's quite the day. I mean, it's not even, we only still have 2 hours left. It's a tough, it's not the easiest day. I mean, it's, you know, I was actually talking to Jose in the back there because, again, he had just sort of heard what was going on over here and was like, oh, my God. But, yeah, like we missed that Apple there. And I told him as soon as I sort of thought something was going on with Apple, we just went right over to the TQs because missing a stock is one thing. I thought we had a great chance to hit the futures, and we've done that. And you can see we're still in this trade right now, having a big day. So we're pretty proud of what we're doing here today. We haven't traded anything else pretty much all afternoon. So we'll look to do that. $43 possible there for the TQs. Want to move up there for Apple. We told you we had that. Then we had that again. Then we lost it there just as we went off air. We were in this trade with you guys. So. But yeah, there it is. Nice battle back day. The only other long that we had was NVIDIA, and we had that at $88 as we had written down on the sticky note, but we let it go right there, 88. I mean, you know, we don't know how far this is going to go down. It does go to 86 and change. You know, I had to hold this about $1.50 to get 12, but no idea that was about to happen up to 102. Will NVIDIA keep on trucking higher here?
Yes.
Nobody knows, but there it goes right now. NASDAQ up 1.1%. Today is a good day, needless to say. Not, like I said, though, not a great day for everybody. I mean, I'm sure people in the chat maybe came in to stay looking short. If you didn't capitalize off the open, then it was a rough one so far. But it's nice to see some of these names battling back because I know there were a few people looking for this. Congratulations, all that was long. It's been a good day. So, all right, I think we're getting ready for more rundowns. So let's go over to Sharif and get this party started.
Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The big boys are locked and loaded and ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get your tickers up there is to come into the midday show and join Joseph and I on the How to Trade show and get into the chat and subscribe and make sure to engage with us in the chat. But it's a subscriber-only chat, so you have to be subscribed. Did I say subscribe enough? Here is a look at the triple Qs, finally in positive territory. It was a bit of a kind of a higher low situation on the triple Qs, but back in positive territory, and that's had a good effect on a lot of these Mag 7 names. Still in the negative though, Apple down over 3.75%, but above 180. Several different comments today on Apple, Ming-Chi Kuo, basically warning of near-term risk to the chip sector, as well as Apple saying that $500 billion investment not enough to skirt the tariffs that will be implemented on China, on which they rely. Wedbush as well, maintaining their outperform on Apple, but guys, cutting that price target down to $250 from $325, so a bit of a $75 haircut there.
So, look, first of all, we'll talk to IBIT in a second, but I just trailed out of IBIT. Looks like it's kind of coming back in here. We just lost the 79,000 level. Going to look for a VWAP for a trace. I didn't trade Apple. I was looking at a different Mag 7 name. So I'll let you take Apple, because I was kind of focused on Amazon as the Mag 7 name that I liked. And ultimately, it didn't matter what you were looking at in terms of Mag 7 or just big cap tech. More or less, I mean, once the market opened, you started, like, you were pulling back in. You started making higher lows. Whoops, I meant to type in Apple, and I typed in Amazon, because I said Amazon last. But they're all the same thing. Like, you were pulling back in, you made that bottom, and then it was about 11:12 when there was a big sell. Some things were already breaking out, but it was just after 11:12. In here, when you were breaking out most of the highs, is when you had that halt down on UVXY, and things really accelerated. But I think what's unique about Apple that most of the other names didn't do is we pulled all the way back to the morning lows and then came and bounced again. And that's why I kind of liked, like, Amazon was able to, like, Amazon supporting 171. If you look over at NVIDIA, I know it's a chip name, and we're talking about chips, but, like, you know, holding VWAP, like, it's just distinctly different what's going on with Apple. So yeah, it rebounded like everything else, but I'd put it in the relative weakness bucket. Like, the futures get to that high again, let's call it 18,000. I mean, like, the wick's ridiculous because, like, the actual body's 18,000, but it wicked as high as 18.4. It's a real wick, everybody. That was this morning. But if you get back to that 18,000, I'd think Apple, this 185 looks like resistance. So I know it's above VWAP, but I'm not putting it in the bucket of the strong ones for this afternoon. Much rather see, go back into IBIT at VWAP if we can get it. Try to get Amazon at VWAP if you can get that. Those are the ones I'd be a little bit more interested in. Obviously, Apple with that China risk as usual. But wow, I mean, you can't say, like, you can't hate too much because it did go $20 bottom to top. Just interesting that it's one of the few names that managed to retest the low. That's why I think it's relatively weak.
Look, I wanted Apple from the very beginning. I mean, I thought that when we had this crazy day, you know, the best thing to do would be go over to a name that is the most widely held name, you know, one that we'd be able to try to catch a bottom with. And we did. We caught the bottom, but we got stopped out of it. And I'll talk about why we flipped over to the futures after that. But it was just like, you know, the largest stock, huge ETF exposure. We knew there was going to be a capitulation at some point today. I should have had this whole move. Unfortunately, got stopped out. Same candle we got in, basically. You know, we put that wick, and then all of a sudden, not even like a big volume profile, but we did get stopped out down there at 175 before it rips to 195. We're able to get right back into it. So Apple's all good, but definitely not as good as it could have been there today, down 4%. Still interesting because you're down 4% in Apple, but up 1% on the market. So, you know, relatively weak for sure, but I was really glad that we looked at this for the capitulation. I hope a lot of you are able to get that. So there we go. That's Apple.
We got a super chat.
Yeah.
We got David with a super chat here. Thank you very much, David, one of our good friends from the show. I'd like to suggest some kind of annual meetup in Toronto. Toronto town, I like that. T-Town, baby.
T-Town?
I don't know that anyone I've never heard anyone refer to Toronto as Toronto Town. Hopefully when I'm assuming you mean the Maple Leafs, are playing ideally for all these nerds. Oh, okay. I'm a nerd. I'm a Leafs fan. we're going to win the cup at some point. I want to shake Neil's hand, fake high five. You're not faking any high five. I think it'd be a lot of fun. We've had viewers come through, the old ring the bell, being able to meet a bunch of fantastic people who are friends of the show. And it's always great to share time with our community. It's a great community out there. Appreciate you, David. And hopefully the Maple Leafs make a deep run, and we can all celebrate them winning the Stanley Cup sometime in the future. Wow. It'll happen eventually. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to make any bold predictions.
It will happen eventually.
I mean, it's just, what are you going to do? It's been 55 million years, so.
It's been 32 years for the Jays. I mean, is
it 50? How many years it's been?
67 was the last year.
Yeah. So whatever. Yeah. So 57, 58 years.
It's been a while. It's
58 years now.
Wow, it's been a while.
This, you know what? This city, I know it's a bad thing to say, but this city is gonna literally blow up or burn if they win the Stanley Cup. It is going to be riots on the street. When we were young, remember when we were young, they won a playoff round, and I remember it was complete chaos. People were, it was insanity. We were out there, our buddy should have been arrested 5 times at least, and I won't name any names. But, and he's definitely a different character now. But yeah, it's gonna be a little bit, I think so. He's definitely simmered off a little bit. Okay. Yeah. But no, it's going to be insane if they win the cup. Forget about it. But let's talk about Tesla, because you can say price target down, but that move was up this morning like everything else. I think he's more confident.
Yeah, guys, it's definitely off the bottom. That's the good look there. But Tesla's still negative, despite the market being positive, down 2 1/3%. Apple and Tesla set to be the biggest losers potentially of the tariffs of the Mag 7 name, the magnificent 7 names. A couple of headlines today. Trump advisor Peter Navarro hits back at Elon Musk, who took to X yesterday to criticize the tariffs, saying he's just looking out for his own interests and actually calling him a car assembler. Separately, Bush through Danny Ives maintaining their outperform on Tesla, but lowering that price target, guys, from 550 to 315. Tough look.
That's a pretty large change in your price target. Just going to throw that out there. I mean, wait till we go from 500 to 220. Yeah, we're still, that's the thing. Tesla's
right.
We're still down 2.5%. This is one of the weirder days you're ever going to see, because the rally was so big off the bottom, and a stock that is holding higher lows and $5 above the volume weighted average price, 2% above the volume weighted average price right now is Tesla, and it's still down 2.5%, because that's how ugly some things were this morning. So it's a bit of a weird day when you look at the percentages, because I can look at 2 charts, and just to give you the idea, the NVIDIA chart looks somewhat similar in shape to Tesla's. NVIDIA's up 4.5 points, Tesla's down. Now, I was looking short underneath 22, $222. So I started in that short. And I'll tell you right now, I took the one shot in it and I like to just take the out and not try to reload in it, because it didn't feel right. And at that point I was looking long. So I kind of took my loss early. If I had worked, let's be real. If I had just been nah, this is going to work, this market's fine to the downside, it would have been a winning trade. However, I'm going to suggest that if I had done that, I probably end up reloading it and get it run over. Because at that point, I wouldn't have been looking for the reversion longs that we were able to find in Intel and Walgreens. I'd still be looking shorts at that point. So I think it was right to get away from it. I still don't feel that great about the whole sentiment shift with Tesla. So I said before, in the long term, I'm not buying at this level again. This is where I bought before. And I'm not kind of going in long again. I think if you're looking to buy dips off this recent pullback, there's more attractive things in the Mag 7. I would posit Meta and Amazon are a couple of examples of that. And I think Tesla still has a possible chance you could still see lower. I know it's a great bounce today, and when you look at the market, but we haven't done anything material yet off these lows. For Teslas. I still think there's a decent chance we're headed for a number with a 1 and an 8 in front of it. And with the volatility, good luck projecting, bottoms like that, even if it is one, could be 5% in either direction, the way this moves.
Damn, Joe, you have to have that jerk chicken going on right now?
It smells so good.
I smell that, my guy.
course.
Yeah, I was actually going to take a second to look at Rivian here because I wanted to see from my guy Randy how low did we go. I mean, Neil just talked about Tesla. There's not too much to look out for there other than some of those levels. So again, Randy's bid is at 1022. 1028, something like that. If he comes through, we can ask him. I don't know if he got filled. I told him to move it up. But anyways, there it is, 1080, 1060. Huge move back to $12. Rivian still says red. I was looking today earlier, too, that Lucid was a name that Neil and I had talked about a little bit anyways. You know, not in depth too much, but the fact that it was holding $2. And this name, although we just looked at all the car companies there, didn't look like many were green. Well, Lucid today up 5. So I don't know what's going on with this name, but it looks like if there's going to be one that's going to win right now, looks like Lucid up 5% today against the red Tesla, against the red. I'm going to assume, I don't want to assume Ford or GM, but Ford down 3. We don't even look at these anymore, and GM down probably the same, something similar, I guess, down 1.5. So it looks like Ford bites the bullet today, down the worst out of these two companies. But anyways, yeah, good trading today for sure in the autos. And I mean, I just want to say that if you are going long Tesla, just be careful with it. That's all. I mean, have your outs, have your stops. We've seen violent moves. I mean, that one top to bottom, 210, 250. That's $40 there today on Tesla. Let's call it $35 straight to the upside there. So you just got to be careful. You know that it's about to run. Very headline related stock. We like Tesla, but it's IBIT time with Sharif.
Strategy, Sean, $5.9 billion in unrealized, to be fair, losses, which has prompted them to pause new purchases. The article reads separately. You saw Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, everything really drowning in the tariff tsunami, so to speak. Experts now calling for a possible $50,000 drop on Bitcoin.
What experts calling for a $50,000 drop?
It's like Trump, like, you know, everyone's calling for me to run for a third term, so we have to be careful who's calling for that.
50,000 from here? Oh.
No, drop to 50,000, I think maybe. Is that
Well,
what
I thought he said a 50,000.
That is what he said.
Did he drop to 50,000 or 50,000 drop?
There we go. To 50,000.
I mean, it's not like
I was
that.
wondering.
It's not that much. It's not like that's great or anything. Look, if that happens, let's go to a daily chart. Just because that got said, we can get to like, let's buy VWAP on, if we get to the volume weighted average price on IBIT, I'm going long again there. So there's a day trading aspect. Where's my daily chart? See, look, I understand, I know I'm getting older, but I'm like 99% I switched this to a daily chart. Whoops, I switched to an hour. No, I know. But I'm pretty sure I already did this. That being said, I think we all saw what happened here. It happened. There is our test of the prior breakout high. We bounced off that 74. So Bitcoin did it. And maybe now we can settle down into, because the last time this happened, we made a range in Bitcoin. It held that range from, so there's your breakout. There's like, call this the retake. That's November 21st. And we lost that range. I mean, you lost it here in February. So there's a good 4 months right there. Sorry, 3 months and change of range-bound trading. So we've only been inside of this range for, call it, I'd almost say like this retake in here is good in March and then April. So we could spend a little bit more time inside of this range. And now we've established that 74, 75 as a bit of a support level, temporarily speaking. That's all well and good. But what are we thinking about IBIT today? I didn't trade it till late. And it was just when, like, it actually ran the volume weighted average price. However, I noticed what it was doing, which is bouncing off the pre-market resistance, turning into support. So I want to be long into that, which it doesn't want to let me back in. And all systems go. Remember that 81,000 was a prior support. So I expect 81,000 to be a bit of a curl spot. If we see 81,000, I'd likely look for a reversion short. Although I have to double check to see where IBIT is at. I don't know exactly what that corresponds to. But certainly if it got up there, wherever IBIT happens to be, 81K, I think is next resistance on IBIT.
All right, leveraging one of the biggest mega trends on the planet, it is nuclear energy. Unlock the nuclear renaissance with Foremost, Fabian. What's going on? Clean energy, partnered with Denison Mines, with properties strategically located in the Athabasca Basin. Fabian, is there a role that goes for this or no? There we go. Athabasca known as the Saudi Arabia of uranium. This undervalued company is poised to capitalize on the exploding nuclear market and offers unparalleled growth potential. The future is nuclear, and your entry is foremost. Thanks, Fabian. I just didn't want to miss all that. Make sure you can scan that QR code below. Hit FMST on your NASDAQ right there, as you have Amazon and Google, apparently, with those. The thing is, look, you need that. We talked about nuclear energy, and it does. You know,
they need power.
These
man.
LLMs and all that need to get going. So foremost, go check them out. FMST. All right, big guy, it's chips time, Sharif.
Where do we sell them cold fusion?
John, I don't see any chips. Kidding. All right, good look here for the SMH, up 3.5%, outperforming obviously all major averages as well as the Mag 7 in general. Moving up higher here, basically for no reason. Obviously after weakness last week, no specific catalyst today for NVIDIA, ASML, AMAT, or AMD, or these regular chip names, guys, but nice rebound here for SMH, up 3.5%.
So yeah, I mean, we had NVIDIA. We nailed this, man. Like, honestly, just boom, just absolutely had this name. I don't know, you know, there's only so much we could do with this, but we had NVIDIA right down here at 88 long. If the market is going to be a buy, dip buy, then this is what we want. This is the level. I mean, we wrote it down there. Pretty clear as day if you were looking at the sticky note there. If the NASDAQ wants to go, we have to have this on our watch. So we did have it on our watch, man. And unfortunately, like it just looks insane that it was all the way down there and that we actually had it. But at the end of the day, missed opportunity for me as we had to drop it out. It does. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit so you can sort of see the plight of this for me. So we were just going long. We had a huge move up to $89. It was at that time I thought it was pretty good taking that dollar, and then it just came right back in. And I said, you know what? If we break 87.50, we're gone. We're going to give this 50 cents worth of room. Needless to say, there's the move higher, man. People were screaming about where AMD was and all that. You know, I just, the more comfortable we get with trading, the more focused I'm going to be on individual names, because I've already said this, man. When you're trading with bigger share size, I don't need to worry about this move, that move, or the other thing. I just need to be on one stock. And same move happened for AMD. So if you're on AMD, you should have had that. And if you're on NVIDIA, you should have had that. Thankfully, you know, we were able to get stopped out on NVIDIA and then move over to the futures. But still, the same, very similar call there on AMD, capitulation bottom, and then huge move to the upside. Yeah, congratulations to anybody that had that. Kind of a tough trade.
That's the thing. Like, there were obviously everything bounced. So, like, you just had to be looking at something that you really liked at a level and then just take your shot ultimately. And, you know, as long as you got one. Like, could have done better with Intel, but what I liked about it, I mean, its redeeming quality was basically the fact that it was at 52-week lows, which is not normally a redeeming quality. It's a bad thing, obviously, in this particular case. However, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, this would be the 7th time that Intel has bounced off an this 18.5 zone, which I just realized, like it's insane. And it bounced off that level, but could have done better with it. Ultimately, and you would have heard me say, and I'll only mention it now, like, why would I not leverage into Intel or something else? Because there was a setup that I basically, I'll never see. It just doesn't happen very often, where like a traditional trade setup happens in something that doesn't have a big range ever, and where I think fundamentally it should be a buy. And then on top of that, like there was a reversion setup. Like, in my estimation, like what happened today and why I wasn't loaded in Intel was because Walgreens should have never been at $10. It's literally being bought in cash for like 11 plus with a $3 CVR, which people could win. And then I saw a mean reversion trade on, which, let's be real, like this is from the highs. It did a mean reversion, broke the trend, and then gave me a VWAP entry, which does not happen on these stocks. It just doesn't. And then it held VWAP. So that's why I was over here instead of trying to focus a little bit more on Intel, which I missed a VWAP bounce in there, which I missed a dip buy in there, because you had to pick where you're going long, what's your long going to be, and then stick with that one. And it just didn't matter whatever you picked, you're going to get points here today. As long as you were like, okay, you had to get away from shorts too, because I had to get away from a Walmart short. I had to get away from a Tesla short. That was another thing. I had to get away from both those short trades and eventually work into longs. Sometimes, and by the way, Walmart, I had this back long off of VWAP. Probably should have given it more room. But ultimately, the chips gave you that bounce. You just had to find whichever one you liked. I would make one observation ever, because I was noting this when you were like, because I said I got my arm dip by, and you're like, oh, that's got to be deep in the money. And I was like, it actually isn't at that big on a percentage basis. However, like, it's looking pretty solid. But when I said I got a dip buy in this chart looks putrid. I just want to make that clear. Like, this is a stock that I've been waiting for it to, I mean, it got cut in half, so I've been waiting for it to get down underneath $100 for a while. I think this thing might be headed lower. And yes, it did a nice bounce today to be red to 2.5%, but ARM has all the look that it could be back at like 50, 60, 70. I just knew that once it had an 8 in front of it, I was going to be a buyer, and I'll probably buy again next quarter or at $60. But yeah, I'm not, some of these charts, I wouldn't endorse saying that the bottom is in. As nice as the bounces look, everybody. I know a lot of chip names had some good bounces, but some of these charts do look pretty ugly. Like even AMD's chart, like you can say, yeah, maybe the bottom's in, but the chart doesn't look any better just because we have a green. It's not even a green day. It's still down 2%. It just keep wanting to say green day, but it's not green. Crazy.
For Meta, a decent day for Meta, definitely outperforming the overall market, almost 3% in the green and well off the lows. A couple of headlines today. First, Jefferies maintaining the buy rating on Meta, but dropping that price target significantly, guys, from 725 down to 600. So still a bit of a possible move upside here based on the $600 price target. Separately, Mark Zuckerberg took to the weekend to unveil Llama 4, their latest open source large language model, guys. A couple of versions of this got released, but the big one, the behemoth, we're still waiting on that. Should be in Q2 of this year.
Yes, sir. Llama, Red Pajama.
Great book.
Great story. I mean, that's a go-to.
Classic.
Man. I think you read a kid's book, like, and if you have kids, you know what I'm talking about, and if you don't, then, if you have kids, it's a great book for sure. That said, I've said this before, they all have to stay up to date. They all have to have some quality version of their AI interface. Why? Because I know from my experience, I just use what happens to be the most convenient. If it stinks, I go to the other one. I go to the next one. I'm like, oh, I'm not liking the answers I'm getting when I'm on WhatsApp and using Meta's AI. Let me go over to Gemini. Let me go over to ChatGPT. Like, everyone's got all of these options, so they all just have to stay on top. But I love what Meta's doing in here. And I get it. There was a conversation this morning when I was saying I like Meta over the next few years. I get it. If there's a recession, if that happens, advertising is going to get hit. But Meta right now, you're already pulled back so far that you're trading at like an 18 forward PE, or I think it's 18, something like that, between 17 and 19. Let's just call it that. So you're trading at a reasonable P that if it falls too much further, I think it's going to be another buy on Meta. All that said, like everything else, great recovery. What's different about it compared to Apple? You are above Friday's resistance. You're above the top. You're up 2.5%. This is distinctly different and distinctly stronger. Like when I look at Apple, okay, fine, Apple. I mean, things caught a bounce this morning. It's just, understand the strong and weak buckets here. Like, Apple is so far underneath Friday's close that it's standing out like an absolute sore thumb. And as I say that, it's weird that it's above the volume weighted average price here, because normally I'd be thinking, hey, let's short if it bounces to the volume weighted average price, but it's actually trading above it. So I want it to lose that or give us 185. I don't think I'll trade Meta, but it's one that I'm definitely dip buying. I keep wanting to say next quarter, but kind of in the second quarter. So sometime this quarter after their next earnings is when I want to look to pick it up again. That or when it hits between 420 and 440, whichever comes first, assuming that it's not a completely horrible earnings season. But yeah, Apple, I'd rather trade this afternoon because it looks so obviously weak. Either shorts in 85 or wait till it challenges underneath the volume weighted average price.
All right, good luck over there for everybody trading today, especially trading Meta. I mean, that was a huge. there to the upside again. You know, we've talked about Meta a couple times here on the show and how much we like the stock. But again, you know, it's today you could have picked many different names, as Neil had mentioned there, to try to grab. Look, that doesn't mean that, like, you know, the long was super easy here. I mean, there's a lot of traders, I'm sure, today that would be red or flat or anything like that. But if you just were patient right away on the open, then you got this move. I think it's one thing to say, like, you know, these moves were there. It's another thing to have it. So if you had that for Meta, 480 up to 540, I mean, that's $60 straight to the upside. You made your month, you made your quarter if you have that. But yeah, again, another name that I like. The only name that I dip bought today or had an order to dip buy was this guy right here, and that was Amazon. So I had a dip buy in my account for Amazon and a dip buy in my account for the futures. So, you know, neither of them filled, and you know, we were waiting for much more dramatic move than what we had seen, and it's just too bad because at the end of the day, the market has gone up and down 10% there today because the Nasdaq was down about 5, and then we got up to 5 at one point, and now you're back to in and around flat. But I really like it. All right, thank you everybody for you know, lasting with us here on the rundown. Thank you to Sharif as well. So, all right, just some talk here about what we're doing because this TQs, we've just been getting out on the way up to the point where now I have 2% left. So there's really nothing left on this trade. I think we'll wait to see if we can get VWAP or something like that back. If we're able to do that, great, then we'll look to trade it out. If not, great as well. We're already out of the stock. So let's try to find out, you know, what the next sort of look would be for us. Tesla just has a nice pullback in. I have to get figuring out here which way I actually like the stock market here into the afternoon, whether or not we want to be bullish or bearish, because Tesla's pulling right back in again, right into VWAP and right into the 200 period moving average. So this could be another great opportunity here to go long somewhere, something with Tesla. So, you know, down 3%, my bad, there today, giving us a little bit of pause there for the long, but at the end of the day, should work out for us, right? If we decide to go long, we do have this bottom down there, 225. That's a ways away. So maybe I'm talking myself into potentially waiting for that level now on Amazon. On Tesla. Why don't we do that? Wait to see if that can come through. But for right now, yeah, it's kind of what I'm looking at would be a Tesla long, but now I think you could test it maybe at VWAP. I mean, you guys let me know what sort of you're thinking about, but that's sort of where I would be for the long, and then maybe using this 225 as a base. But again, you're going to have to be pretty risky to go in there and take that risk tolerant to try to take this $6 or $7 against you. But again, huge move to the upside. I'm debating short in the market, so we're going to look to get out of the TQs. And then I know it's a little bit of double talk there, but I want Tesla to come down before we get long, because right now this market could fade back into VWAP, which is giving me a little bit of hesitancy here with this play for Tesla. We'll still keep looking for good opportunities.
You don't want to be a Panican.
I don't want to be a Panican, no. But that's 40. Okay, I'm going to put a stop there. That is 40.65. So just because it's, let's go to 74, like something like that. We'll get out. 73, doesn't matter, of the half of what we have left, which would only be 1%. If that comes down $1, we'll get out of that one. But yeah, we do want to look for more trades there, Neil, including all those panic trades that apparently Trump is telling people not to get out of. So we'll wait to see what happens there. But hey, you know, I said this for a joke, but on Friday, Trump came out and said, okay, well, there's one win with the jobs market. Obviously, that's an older data point. I mean, it's not going to be immediately reflecting these tariffs, but at the end of the day, you know, there was some positivity there on Friday, and then continued positivity today with a plus market. So, yeah, I mean, you got to be happy, I think, with today. The fact that it's not that Black Monday that a lot of traders were thinking about was real nice. I still cannot believe we have that bottom, but at the end of the day, it's created good vibes and good feel there for the TQ. So that's where our stop is on that one. Put some trades in the chat, and we'll figure that out.
I see Manuel asking about AVGO, Broadcom. Relatively, well, not asking, just a comment. Broadcom is strong above VWAP. We mentioned volume weighted average price for Apple. If it can hold underneath it, I'd look short. And almost at VWAP is iBit or Bitcoin. So that's a chance to go long. But Palantir here, since the halt down, so halted down, which is crazy that you even had a halt down in a stock that was so strong this morning. Since then, it has held a trend that it's bouncing off of right at the even $1.77. So I want to play this two ways. First one is, hey, let's just try going with the trend here. Dips long. If it reverses underneath this trend line, I'm just connecting it from the bottom. That's the first halt. And then you can kind of connect all those points together. So pretty easy to do on a 3-minute chart here. I want to go long first off 77. If it breaks trend, just get out. It's either that or we get IBIT off of VWAP, which I'll show you right here. Like there's IBIT. Still would like it to trend down. 44 has held much better than the volume weighted average price. I want to see it show strength off the off VWAP, and if it doesn't, then wait for 44 to try to grab that long. But I want to see if we can get Palantir first, get an order out, because if you don't have an order, you're not going to get filled. The other thing is Broadcom was asked about here, it being relatively strong in terms of the chip names. First time I'm looking at it today, I think you had to be picking your spots. It is wild to me that so many charts look exactly the same. So it's up 5%, but is this chart really different from NVIDIA? Like you guys just saw that. It's basically the same chart. Like there is no effective difference. So what I would say is why not just trade NVIDIA, which I would think, even if they're about the same chart, I still think NVIDIA is going to move more in the afternoon. That's just how it rolls. If we pull back into VWAP, you can buy AVGO at 150, or you can look at NVIDIA at like 90, like 94 change, whatever that works out to be. So it doesn't really matter. I think you got to pick your poison. The only chip name that I'd be different on, to a certain extent, Intel's still red on the day, despite the fact that, like, obviously it bounced like everything else. So I think this could be a little something. If we do a false breakout of 20, it closed at 1985. Like a couple more wicks, and you might convince me this should be a short this afternoon. That's only if the market's looking weak. For now, we're looking Palantir long off that trend, if we can grab it. Let it trend back in, give us a fill in front of 77. If it breaks the trend, that's a reverse into VWAP, which is at 74. Like it's $3 away from VWAP. And VWAP is $5 from the local high and $8 from the high of the day. That's the volatility you had this morning. I don't necessarily expect that kind of volatility this afternoon, but hey, if you can still find something, great.
Yeah, there's some chats here for SMCI.
Oh, that's a beast.
Can I have a quick look at that? SMCI. So I don't really have too many upside targets there. I see some people asking in the chat for the TQs. We don't have a big, huge piece left. And someone said there in the chat, like, because we're prop, we have to trade in lots. And yeah, we do. So I could talk about how many lots I have left or what. I just choose the percentage to talk about because we never talk about how many lots we're going in with in the first place. It doesn't really matter for that. So that's why we talk like that. And again, we've talked about it on the show. So thank you for asking, those of you that are here for the first time. We all trade dramatically different share sizes. So that's where it matters. Why we talk about percentages left, at least I do. That's what I do. But okay, so yeah, SMCI, good little level there for sure. Again, so many names, you're going to look, our charts did not have that split adjusted. That's for. So many names are going to look like this, I think, when you look at charts from today, where you came right into some levels and it's like, oh man, we missed that buy. But unless you're sitting there pushing the keys, these are tough to get off the open, right? We told you about, I'm having the best day, like I said, for myself since this show started, and we missed 3 trades. We had 3 longs that we had to get out, 2 longs, NVIDIA and Apple, that we had to get out of because they broke our parameters, and then thankfully we're able to find ourselves into the futures trade. So at the end of the day, I just think you need to be looking at these stocks and being like, okay, what's my risk tolerance for certain names? How many shares do I want to use? And maybe even on a day like today, you want to use a little bit less shares so that you can hold for potentially a bit longer, which is what maybe I should have done with some of those trades. But yeah, again, SMCI, I think if we take out the day's high, why not? That is $34. Looks like it wants to get going here. What is the short float on SMCI? I want to thank everybody once again for joining us here today. This is the Benzinga platform. We've just seen like they're pretty much all the same on the short float. I mean, if one is way off, then we'll try to correct ourselves a little bit. But right there, 26%. Short float for Benzinga on SMCI Supermicro. So that's part of the story here, which is why we looked at Elucid, which is why we looked at some of those other names. When you have this kind of a short float, these things can happen. So SMCI, again, what a year they had in 2023, 2024. before, including getting included into the S&P 500, then having accounting issues and dropping all the way back through again. So I think SMCI is great. The patterns are here, man. There's the low, there's the low. These are higher lows, all higher lows as we continue to get upside. So yeah, pull back into the 200 period. SMCI is go time, man. 3260, 3270. I like the stock. I like SMCI here today. I think it's a worker, and I think you can go long through the top. I mean, that would be a trade for me. This is the second best trade of the day for myself here with Palantir. Happened so early on that break. So I don't know if you're going to get, like, that's another capitulated move. So I don't even know if it was capitulation there today. Maybe not on Palantir, but on some of those other names, it feels like it. There's a huge move upside. I cannot believe when we broke 70, I was nervous about it because we had so much risk on the futures. But that went $10 even from that break. So this name today, top to bottom, $66 to $82. Like, as far as like stocks are concerned, probably a firm maybe had just as big of a move or something like that. I haven't even looked at a firm.
It's been moving a ridiculous
Palantir up 6%. I mean, that's absolutely huge.
Well, a firm. The thing about a firm is, for the last in the crazy moves to the downside, a firm has been ridiculous.
Right.
So, like, yes, on a percentage basis, it has been moving more than most of the stuff we would normally look at. Liquidity is just vastly different for this stock. Like, yes, it's $38, so it's half the price of Palantir. But if you pull up a level 2, you can't tell me that it's remotely the same type of liquidity. Like, it's weird to say this, but you would be like safer in Palantir than you are in a firm. But yeah, a firm went $8 from top. That's a 25% move from bottom to top on a firm, which is to only be up 6%. I saw a couple people say this one's rocket ships. Just remember what these charts all look like. If we go into recession, you got to worry about delinquencies with some of these names. This had a monster. When the big turn was when it got down to 23, but it had a monster report off of this level right here. Like, they had the big earnings turn in August, and it was like $30 that this thing was at. And this is exactly where we bounced on a firm. Like I said, I'm waiting for Palantir if we can get it. Maybe a little bit of IBIT on the bid, and let us know what other names you might be looking at, everybody, because out here, I think you just want to be a little bit patient. The volatility is so big that if we have any kind of a move resembling the morning, you're going to want to be patient where you buy the dips and not just buy them anywhere. It's like, oh yeah, I get into a firm when it's $1.50 away from the local high and $1 change away from the volume weighted average price. That's a wide berth that I don't think you want to be fighting too much. If you're on trend, go for it. Like, Palantir's trying to pull back into the trend. I think taking a shot at that makes sense. Oh, Dinkelberg, that's what I was going to talk about.
Dinkelberg?
Baba. The Chinese names aren't strong. If you're looking for where the weakness has been, it's definitely been in the Chinese names. Baba's holding underneath VWAP, down 9%.
What? Still?
Holding,
wow,
holding underneath. I was short on, what the heck? Oh, that's the wrong one.
WTH?
That's the wrong one in the drop down. JDLO. There's a JD on the London market.
Oh, it's probably the same one.
No, it's something else.
It's not? Okay,
it says
Jack
JD Sports Fashion. Yeah, whatever. Never heard of it. Anyways.
Heard of JD Sports Fashion, my guy?
I don't know, have you?
Nope.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's weird. It's just, I assume it's only one thing. So JD.com is the one that I was trading only because it was holding right under $35.
Oh, no, wait a
support
second.
to resistance. So you do.
I think they're like a Civu play. Like, I'm pretty sure. What's up if Adam DeLuz is in there? I think down in London, there's a big JD. Yeah, I think there's sport, like clothing, I think. Let me know anybody in London there. I think they have like big stores, kind of like a Foot Locker, but more sports equipment based. JD, anyway. Someone in London might.
Yeah, it's good to know. It's just you type in JD in our platform, I'm not expecting anything else to be in the drop down. That's all. It's just
right. Sometimes we get the Blue Ocean, and I was like, oh yeah, Blue Ocean.
That makes more sense. But there's also, did you know that JD trades in Brazil too?
That's the other thing.
Like, that's just bizarre to me. But this off of VWAP as well, $35 on JD.com. Like, I think I want to look for this one if we can get the short in there as well. Let's go to Adara, apparently.
Yes, what it's worth, they looked into it, and there is a JD that trades on the London Stock Exchange under the ticker JD. That is JD Sports. This is just the NASDAQ here, but I did look into that. JD in London does appear to be JD Sports. Back to you.
And like, every chart is, even this random JD Sports did the same move in London that we did here. Like you could have just won everywhere in the market today. I could probably pull up Toronto stocks and it'd be the same thing.
I mean, it's coulda, woulda, shoulda. You could win every day in the market. It's just a matter
Well, I
of
just
like.
mean on that same move.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Well, I'll give you an example.
What stock didn't go up? I think that's one that we should.
Oh,
maybe Baba. I'm trying to think
I missed like a free money punch this morning.
Well, we all
Toronto
missed,
stock.
yeah,
It's just like I completely whiffed onto like this is a stock that I tried to get the long down here in Toronto, and it was like no business cratering, none. You get straight up $6 cash in like a week and a half. There's no business giving you a 5% return in a week and a half. So it was like panic, and I was just trying to get long. But anyways, it doesn't make a difference. There were so many things you could have traded,
Right.
but I want to say weakness in the Chinese names. I meant to go over Alibaba when I said I'll probably trade JD because of that 35 level. But the thing about Baba, I think we're headed down to at least retest the 200 period at 95 and 100. And I recently sold a couple times up here on Baba when it broke trend. I'm not even thinking about a dip buy until we get to 80, 85 on this. It just seems to always want to get there. Maybe it bounces off the 200 period and we get back into this, but I'm just not completely convinced. Like, this is not a year that I feel like, oh, just catch a falling knife. Like last year, you could just buy at these support levels. You throw your bid in there and you win. I don't know that we're in that kind of a environment here. So anyways, JD for the short instead of Baba off 35. Palantir still looking to pick up 77s. It's not really that close, but this has a chance to get there. Only 20 cents.
Okay, so that was SMCI. Yeah, it looks like the SPY is trying to hold right now, or the NASDAQ is at least anyways. ES still 210, sorry, up 0.1 there. 210 was the price for JP Morgan. So we just talked. All right, bang. Happy as a pig in be with this move. We had written down 210 for our friend, at least sometimes is our friend, JP Morgan there today. It doesn't look like we get executed at 210 because we didn't have the order there, but it is a nice move to the high side there for JP Morgan. I mean, we had written down again on here, if it breaks 210, then that's what we liked. Well, there's the break of 210. Didn't even break there. There's the break right there. It goes 210 to 222. So again, another capitulated move. Like I said, it doesn't matter, but we written down Palantir and JP Morgan. We wind up taking Palantir. Both go $10. So we're really happy with that. It's nice to see JP Morgan getting back upside. The reason why I like JP Morgan is because they're reporting. So if they're going to report, then obviously we'll look to see some strength there on Friday's report. But I just thought that, do people want to be short this name heading into the report? Maybe. But if they are, then they're going to get a little bit of higher price right now because JP Morgan and the rest of them trying to go back upside. If you don't want single stock risk, and I'm just talking like this because they are reporting on Friday. It's the start of the earnings season right now. I think there hasn't been a more important earnings season than now. We say that every earnings season, but just the fact that there's going to be tariff talk, most of these companies are kind of right now on the brink of potentially catastrophic outlooks, I would say. I mean, we heard Lulu, we heard LU, everyone talking tariffs. And of course, it's not going to be a good talk as we are nervous about what's going to come. And we've seen this huge drop in Lulu and in Nike. So both these names, both in the retail side of things, looking pretty weak. Let's see what the banks wind up doing. I mean, Goldman Sachs, like I said, we can look at CoreWeave, which I think we should probably have a quick look at. Goldman Sachs only down 1.4, but there's that huge break on Goldman as well. So we do know, I almost think that it's like, it's just a test to see how the markets want to react. Like if there's any talk of tariffs being lifted or easing of tariffs, we know that the market can do this. Every day, I'm going to be sitting on the queues and on some big stocks like this, looking for these exact opportunities, man. So we want to be here for that, and I think it's ready to go. Like we're ready for all of this, man. So let's see if we can get a big move here happening in the futures. And every day, look at Goldman, look at JP Morgan, look at Palantir. As Neil said, almost no matter what you're looking at, had those opportunities today. So just stay positive, stay liquid, I think is a good word. We don't know. You don't want to be shut down if you're on a prop floor. You don't want to be, there's lots of this talk back and forth. You never want to be shut down. I don't care what the day is, but especially when you're looking at these markets, you don't know where that next shoe to drop is. I'm not hearing anything right now, but if Adara ever, has any news stories or anything like that, obviously we go directly over to her. So you're in the right spot. And I do want to say something, and that is congratulations to everybody that's now found our station. station. We're starting to get record views, and Neil and I, all of us here, we just continue to do the same thing every day. So it's like, if you're enjoying the content today, you're going to enjoy it tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Sharif and Joe continue to just, impress me and continue to do great jobs on the midday show. And I'm sure they're impressing you guys as well. So, more and more positivity coming through every single day here at Trader TV Live. And it's definitely turning out to work positively for my trades as well. So the more you think, the better, the more positivity about your trades, confidence that you have, the more success that you will have. But with that being said, we got news now with Miss A.
Keep an eye on any of these president attention stocks. Here's GEO, just made a little bit of a pop. The New York Times reporting that the Trump administration is looking to spend $45 billion to expand detention for immigrants. So keep an eye here on, again, GEO, CXW, 2 prison or detention stocks making some moves on this catalyst. Back to you.
Thank you very much there, and appreciate you, Dare. We're ready. Locked and loaded, because I was just looking at some stuff I don't normally look at, but second. Because if you're looking for the number one in profit, in unbeatable odds on the biggest games, it is going to be at Profitex. We have checked it out, everybody, and I can tell you they are absolutely impressive. Switch to Profitex's peer-to-peer platform where you set the price. No more one-size-fits-all lines. It's like crafting your own picking strategy with real-time trading tools. Bid, ask, swiping the book, all the things you guys are used to. So secure the best odds, track the action, and watch your plays come alive. Experience total control at every step. Profitex, sports playing reimagined for traders, I think. Users can use the code TRADERTV to sign up for the offer of 2% cash back up to $300. And I just randomly pulled this up. I'm not even a golf person, but I was kind of curious, because one of the biggest features that they have at Profitex is the ability to bet no on single outcome instead of just saying, well, Scottie Scheffler is going to win the Masters. Look, I don't know golf, so I would just tell you Scottie Scheffler is going to win because I know the guy.
He is.
I know the guy. He's the best golfer in the world.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Well, I looked to Sean to tell me the confirmation.
I don't know if he's going to win or not.
Well, he's one of the best. But you can bet the no on all these dudes. And what's interesting about it, you can see that there's probably some hedging going on, because how else are you going to explain the open interest on, Brooks Koepka, that makes sense at 20,000. Who was that other guy I was telling you about?
Will Zalatoris.
Will Zalatoris. There is a lot on the offer here on the no. People want that action on the no for him. I don't know Will Zalatoris. I'm sure he's a fantastic golfer. That's why there's a lot of, and people sit outside of the book on the yes. Maybe you don't like 600, you want to get better odds, you can sit outside and see if you don't get swept up. And there's the ability to market make and maybe take advantageous fills and then buy it here and then be able to hedge it somewhere else. All these things are available to you over there on Profitex, because it's like anything. You just come up with a profitable trading strategy with a positive expectancy. And then it's all the same game, everybody. So I was looking at Nike. We were just talking about retail a second ago, and it was Nike that I brought up here as Sean was talking about retail. And I wanted to point out, I still believe that with Nike, and everyone always asks, where do you buy these stocks? You still have yet to, since it blew up, make any kind of a distinct bottom. However, every single time this looks to hold a higher low, until it happens, there's your bottom on Friday. There's your higher low today. If it can hold on to that and then take out the next resistance, I think it's a long. I said the same thing and it couldn't do it, right? This time it held a bid. It couldn't take out the prior high. I like that setup every time for a stock that gets destroyed off earnings and then makes any kind of a bottom. It's just the breakout of the local high after it shows you a bit of a floor. So Nike, it's only one day, but if it holds tomorrow, you're like, why do you like Nike long above 59 quarter? Well, it'll be because it held this 54 level for a couple of days and then broke out 59. So I am looking at Nike, and it's just a trade. I don't think necessarily they're out of the water. Lots of risk when it comes to any retail name with strong China ties. So there is no bounce happening right now on Palantir off that trend line. If anything, it's trying to break underneath. So I pivot from looking for the long here. There was never a close above it. Green is really just all red. So I look for it to close beneath the trend line and then play short to VWAP. The prior bar high sits at 77.5. So ideally, once you close this bar underneath, that's a wide range. But Yeah, ideally you get something in the 77 range or like 76.9. But if we close this candle underneath, I'd look short. And IBIT, which I'm still thinking long on Bitcoin, nowhere near. Market's pulling back. This isn't really moving all that much. We've got to play patience with this. I think it'll be Palantir that potentially does this close under the trend, then we go for the short on PLTR. But still a couple of minutes to go till this candle closes.
Yeah, I want to give everybody just a quick update here. I did cancel my stop on the TQs because I just punched them out. So we actually got out of the last, well, now we have breadcrumb. I'm still going to use this 41 as our stop. So if we get out and break through $40.90, I just wanted to get some out right here because it looked like we're trying to break. I could clearly see the futures, and I'm nervous about the positions. So like we're almost out, so there's really nothing to be nervous about. But again, here we go, right? So looks like we're gonna break. So I'm just gonna get that order set out now to get out of. Oops, did we just punch out by accident there? Oh, I got that invalid session thing.
Not 3 o'clock yet.
I just got it, so I don't know.
I get it right at 3 o'clock.
Yeah. So sometimes we get warnings at the Asian market. There's just or Australian market, I guess, in our platform there, which we're not trading. But there's the out right there on the TQs. So we did take advantage. I mean, I think we took advantage of it anyways. Let's just wait to see where it winds up going. So a quick little out there as we fall back into the 50-period moving average. We are just going to be out very, very soon if this does continue, and then we'll wait for something else. I actually made a keystroke error on AMD. We got in and out there. It's a good thing we did. We did not want to play with anything in the middle. I just didn't know. It was when we were doing the rundown there. We were talking about chip names, and I thought it was on the futures. So I was putting out the orders, and then bang, obviously the price was similar but different. So we wind up getting out there, back in and out there quickly. So, all right. The one thing I want to do was look at Netflix because we talk about some names that, potentially, there we go. So we are now out. So this is my biggest trade right there. So we're going to go diamond hands. My biggest trade net-wise that has ever been shown or anything like that on the show is right there. And I think it's probably the biggest trade, and it just goes all the way there. That was the Q's trade straight off the open. We finally exit the last of it right now. So yeah, big trade there for me, and definitely a changer of the month and all that kind of stuff. So we're really happy to be able to do that. Let's just see it. Let's see if the good news can keep on, the good feels can keep on rolling with that. I know you are into Intel, so we just got stopped out of that. It's not a stop out. Well, it is a stop out, I guess, but it's just voluntarily stopped out right there of that trade. So yeah, the other thing was here be Intel, and again we talk about those moves that had happened all over the place. It did happen to Intel, $18.50 to $20. So percentage-wise, just as good as probably the rest. They all look very, very similar. But remember, you can put a lipstick on a pig and it's still a pig. And right now, Intel continues to make those moves to the downside. This is not a name that I'm excited to get more shares in. I'm actually long right here in the swing account, and we should have just got out when that Liputan news came out there up to, well, it wasn't that move, it was this move here, the second move, up to $26. That should have been out, and we did not get out. So that was pretty embarrassing there, but we'll see what winds up happening now as Intel near the lows one more time. I don't think there's very many. I don't think, Adara sent me the news tonight. We do have, Levi's, that's what it was.
There's actually a couple of.
Yeah, Dave & Buster's, right? But Levi's was important, and I just.
It's in play today.
In play, yeah, Dave & Buster's, yeah, good one. But I just want to say Levi Strauss is another one, again, a very, very global company reporting tonight that's had really a bad time of it. So let's wait to see what happens with Levi Strauss. Again, right at an interesting spot. Let's see what they talk about with global demand, because we could extrapolate it forward to the consumer and all that. I mean, I don't know how popular, they go through ebbs and flows there, the jean jacket, the Canadian tuxedo, so on and so forth. So we'll wait to we'll wait to see if Levi's can put up a decent number. Estimated revenue of $154 billion, so that's good. 1.54, this is from Adara, and an EPS move of 28 cents expected. EPS of 28 cents with an implied move of over 14%. So, this should be a good look again at the consumer.
What's the short float? I'm just going to double check this.
Probably pretty short. Again, a relatively new IPO, I think, in the last couple of years, Levi Strauss. So We can go back and zoom back a little bit. Wow, up to $24, down to 13. So again, looking back, right, there's going to be a lot of names that look like they're at pretty good levels right now. So Levi's, again, reporting tonight.
Only
make sure you do
5%.
join Neil. Only 5%. Okay, so make sure you do join Neil and Adara for this monster. And then, of course, Dave & Buster's is symbol.
Okay, first of
The
all,
hour of power is here.
Palantir just broke that trend line, so we did get into Palantir, but I have a comment. Like, I don't understand what are hedge funds doing that Levi's has only a 5% short float? So we got the trend
They're
break.
liking the jeans.
It just pulled back into like 76 and a quarter. Prior bar high sits at 77.5, but if we break 76, I move the trail on PLTR. I just put a trail on Walgreens, can't hold it forever, but I don't, like, what in the you-know-what are hedgies doing that a daily chart, why is this taking so long to load, looks like this, and they're only leaning on it to the tune of 5%? That's not normal. You're used to seeing double digits when a stock is this far to the downside. So it's not as exciting of a long play unless it does something incredibly drastic as far as I'm concerned. Let's go to the desk with Adara.
Nice little pop here for the Qs. I'm not seeing any news for that pop, but it is worth noting we have some comments coming through from Stephen Moran, who is the leader of the Council of Economic Advisors, or the CEA. He said that he cannot confirm or say if there will be any reciprocal deals or tariff deals happening before reciprocal tariffs take effect on April 9th. The decision will be up to Trump, so keep an eye on that. On the NASDAQ, we also, though, have a report coming out just now. The Trump team is apparently considering an exporter tax credit to offset these tariff risks. And we got consumer credit info just coming through now at 3 p.m. Consumer credit coming in at negative $0.81 billion versus $15 billion expected. So again, negative $0.81 billion versus $15 billion expected. Back to you.
Thank you, Darren.
Too bad we just took out our cues.
Remember we talked about volatility? So Palantir went from 77 down to 76 quarter and then broke back out 77.5. Like all in a matter of seconds, but I guess the spike up would have been that consumer credit number. So we're able to get that short, but then the second it started working in the money, you get the consumer credit number. We'll let it settle down because you could still have that spike, wick top, and then hold under the trend line. But I need to see it close back under, reassume heading back into the downside. I thought maybe we would have gotten IBIT on this move down. It's just not quite there yet. Sometimes Bitcoin is like this, where in the afternoon it's not really doing too much. I don't know if I want to pivot away from it. I thought maybe NVIDIA off of VWAP would look pretty good. That could make some sense, but it's so far, you're just in the middle of nowhere with that particular name. So just going to have to be a little bit patient. Johnny H says Dave & Buster's down over 75% over the last year. I actually haven't pulled up Dave & Buster's in a while. I haven't been to Dave & Buster's in a long time. I used to love that. I love Dave & Buster's. I was there one time when a machine, there was like a machine that broke.
Right.
And so it was just spitting out tickets. And the people that were there just collecting the tickets, like they came to us and they're just like, look, just stand in front of it and collect the tickets. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, just stand here. This machine is broken. We have to leave. Someone should take advantage of this. I'm like, okay. And then we ended up getting, you get so many tickets. You still can't get anything all that.
Yeah, it's fun times.
But this is a bad one. What I love about names like this is when you get, if you get a bounce on earnings, you can get like 20, 25, 30% moves. It's not putting a dent in this when you look at the daily chart, but it's great for a day trade. So I'm rooting for you, Dave & Buster's, tonight, because I think you have tons of room to get into the 20 level. It's just, I don't think it's all that great. And if you get into a recession, this is exactly the kind of place that's not going to be any good. So I think that could be a little bit dangerous. Ooh, Airy Pages.
Up with it.
Right. Well, I'm looking. I might get back into this Palantir. There's the wick above the trend lines. We're in, couple of profits out, and then it broke the trend. If it can close back underneath trend line, I want to try to jump back into the same trade, looking for a retracement in VWAP. But Ari just said book recommendations for a young boy on his 13th birthday. So Ari, I'm a huge science fiction nerd and a big science fiction fan. I would probably get, if not the Foundation series from Asimov, then I would say the Robot Chronicles are absolutely fantastic. Probably too old for, I mean, I don't know. The Book of Embers, he's probably too old for that. That's a fantastic book as well. And I would say to anybody, if you like Silo, the dude who wrote Silo wrote one of the best short stories. I finished it this morning, and it is unbelievable. It's just called The Plagiarist. It is It's brilliant, genius. And I don't want to, I told Adara to read it, so I'm not going to say it out loud. When she's done, I can tell you what it's just a brilliant story. I checked that out. Hugh Howey, I believe, is his name. And if you like, Silo's a great series. The novels are way better than the show. I mean, they're absolutely brilliant. I would try those out as well. So hopefully, I'm going to say science fiction because that's what I'm always reading at all times. So not sure what else you can. There's other predictions, other things I could say, but
my kid reads that manga, the Japanese cartoons, starts from the back into the front. All right, so books are nice. Okay, so definitely check those out. Get edumacated.
Edumacated?
Yep, edumacated. Yeah, you can never get too edumacated.
You got to get that momentum going.
Yeah, momentum. Yeah, exactly. You never know when the momentum is going to die. That's the other thing too. Very, very careful.
Rest in peace. What was it? Shoot, I forget his name.
Where is that from?
It's the dad from Friday, and then Lisa's dad from John Witherspoon. John Witherspoon on Fresh Prince. Rest in peace.
I was wondering. I was like, sometimes some of these things,
Hilarious, brilliant.
where they're from. Calling that one. Okay.
What was I gonna say?
We got stopped out of the TQQs at the end of the day there, so we're going to have to wait now to see, where that next play is going to be for us. And of course, we got stopped out just before it popped up, but respecting some of those levels, and we are very attached to the news here to see if something's flying or popping around at all. We like Disney near $100. I can imagine that's going to be much lower than that right now. As there's Disney, $82. Like, I'm okay. I might buy this name. Like, I was reading up at $100. This was I thought it was decent value. You've gapped down huge right here. Obviously, as the recession worries keep pondering, many people's minds out there, many people's minds are being pondered right now about a recession. And, obviously, if you're going to look at Disney, if there's no one has no money to spend, then you're not going to be taking no trips anytime soon. And that would be the fear that, hey, the theme park business is dead. But if we can come out of this, you're right back down into $80. This goes back to October levels of 23. So you're back down 2 years now into some awesome level, some great levels, I would think, for Disney. So unless everything is completely broken, that's another one. And the reason why I was going to go over to Netflix before, and we did sort of talk about that before we had to throw to Adara, up today. Like, talk about trying to find something that, we talk about Amazon, we talk about all these plays, fine. But at the end of the day, right there, 807, like 820, 830, 840, anything like that for Netflix seems to be a good one, man. No one's canceling anything as far as streaming is concerned. Well, maybe they are, but this is going to be one of the last sort of drops, I would think, for many accounts would be the Netflix subscription. So especially if you have little ones and stuff like that, definitely pay attention to Netflix and see where this one goes over the next couple of days, especially if you're looking for some strength and you don't want to like mess around too much with, again, some of these mega cap names, but you still want some exposure to technology. I think that's the winner there with Netflix. Exposure to technology that, IBIT with Bitcoin. Again, we talked about this at the beginning of the day, that this had fallen in right into a level. We all know the levels, man. We all know the levels of 73, 74, 75,000. You could see at the bottom here on my screen anyways, whoopsies, that Bitcoin, now I have too many charts. That right there, Bitcoin's at 78. So a great hold there of 76,000 this morning. I dare to look at what Ethereum's been doing. Wow, down to $12. Pretty nasty stuff here for Ethereum. But again, down 15% today. What did I just see? IBIT was down 7%. So double your fun here with Ethereum getting absolutely crushed. Back down to levels, I think, of like 20. I thought I saw 2018 maybe. I don't know. I'll have to double check that because I'm not even sure like, how around, like,
should I get back?
How far Ethereum's been in? Well, if you're in cash, you can get back in. But if I was
no.
I was going to show this earlier.
I'm joking.
If you've if you've rotated out of Ethereum into anything else, it's going to be just as nasty,
this
man.
is
Solana down to 105. Like Solana's high is 285, and that was about 4 months ago, maybe not even. So 105 there. Everyone very excited about XRP, right? So that could be the next one to go. Dogecoin, shout out to Obi and everybody. And it's not about where the price is. It's about like maybe if you like it at 38. You like it at 14 maybe, or has everything changed? And the same thing with me with Cardano. I mean, we've seen this name go up into the dollars as well, right back down to 57 cents. I mean, everything is hitting. But the thing is, look at Bitcoin over the last 7 days, right? If you're going to follow the king, follow the king. Only down 5. So out of all of these top ones, besides Tron, of course, every other one is, Bitcoin is being dwarfed, like only a 5% move. 15, this is over the last 7 days. 11 for Ripple, as it just keeps on going down. 10 for Binance. 15 for Solana. 12, anyways, as it goes. You can see it's nice to see at least the big dog holding out, even though we're as low as we are for Bitcoin. So, yeah, it's nice to see that. The only trade that I thought you were in maybe was Palantir, but
what's crazy, it's right back to, I tried to get back in, it closed back underneath. I tried to get it back under 77 again. It gets wild. It's just, like from when I got in here, like it even you hold it a point against you and it still wicks you out. Like that's the volatility that we're dealing with here. I tried to jump right back into it. I don't know if we're gonna get a bounce that gets me back in, but I'm sitting on the offer as it came back through, but I'm just gonna go to the other plan that was the short trade because Apple is holding a tighter consolidation off 180. Look at this bottom, 179 quarter, and then VWAP at 180. And if we are gonna break down, Apple is the weakest name in the Mag 7 on a percentage basis. It's the only, I'm fairly certain it's the only Mag 7 name underneath VWAP right now. Although, don't at me, I haven't even looked at Microsoft. No, but I haven't looked at Microsoft in a very long time. I don't usually pull that stock up anymore. So it's entirely possible Softy's having a worse day, and I just haven't even realized it. But I'm thinking Apple back into this 180 if I can't pick up Palantir. And I do have a trail. Yeah, okay, do I need to move? Yeah, I have to move my trail because the trend line is broken on WBA, and I just keep moving it to the highest level of support when it breaks the trail line, which would now be, I had it at like 60, so I should be moving it to like 67 here. This was just, we had it at VWAP, we had it early, it was a trend reversion, it was a VWAP play, but gonna put a trailing stop on this because it's power hour, and I seriously doubt I get back into this. Unless something drastic happens at the close, which I suppose is
likely.
Well, it's one of those, you shouldn't say things like it's unlikely because anything can happen. Like what if this drops to $10 at the close, you're gonna see me long in it, almost for sure. Because that's a great hold overnight. So let's see if we can get Apple underneath VWAP here. The market is pulling back in. After all this, the NASDAQ is red. Again, the ES is red. Again, the number of times we've gone red to green today is wild. It's like a basketball game. It just, with lead changes at the end. I mean, like, basketball, it's good in the fourth quarter. We get a bunch of lead changes and then not so much earlier on. Although I expect a good game tonight. Not that I'll stay up to watch it. Thanks a lot for Monday, the national championship.
Yeah, I'm not, I've never, I like college ball, but again, like I haven't been paying too much attention to this. We've just been so busy with other things. But yeah, one of the best tournaments, of course, the NCAA. You have Profitex still up? I mean, we should check to see what those odds are tonight, just to show everybody.
I don't know why I was looking at golf for some reason.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to look up here. I'm going to look it up in.
Well, you show me, because right now you've got.
You look it up there. So what is the spread? Money line.
So the spread right now, okay, we like.
Go to
come to my
over there. What's up, Andre? Go to
my chart. So you can get. I mean, I don't know. Like I tend to like. I like Houston.
Okay.
Tonight. So let's just say you get what are we at? Like +1. You can get -109 on that money line. You got 101. Most of the liquidity is over here on Florida. However, on the money line, for sure, there's a lot more liquidity, like 4x the liquidity on -102 on the money line here. So, like generally, when I see that, like it must mean that there's a lot of maybe arb going on with some other lines in the over/under 140.5.
Yeah, so that's matched. So look, I just want to show keep it on Neil's screen for a second.
I think the more interesting thing is maybe just look at the spread here.
Yeah, 1. Yeah, so the spread is fine, 1-1, but it's -105. So I want to actually show here the money line. So right now, Florida's -114 right now. So if you drop $1,000 on Florida, you're going to have to pay $140 as your vig there, right? And then if you go over to Neil's, what's the money line over there?
102?
102. So there you go. So it's a monster difference.
What?
There, right? So that's less than 10% of your bet, right? And so that's what we talk about.
That's crazy. It's insane.
Yeah, I know. So that's why we're trying to partner up with Profitex, right? So there's the money line right there. Minus 105 for Houston.
Almost didn't believe you.
Neil has it as plus. That's minus 102.
Minus 102.
So it's more on Florida right now, the other way around. Anyways, okay, that's enough talk about that. We just wanted to show you those odds because although Profitex is a sponsor of the show, they do give the odds because there's no book. That's the difference. It's peer-to-peer.
Yeah.
So if you guys are wondering where they're making money, it's not there, right? It's not on the spread or on the percentage that they're taking as a book for the home. So it's not our business, but they are sponsoring. So thank you to Profitex. Just have a look there. You can scan our QR code. Actually, the QR code's on the screen, but it's a link in description. You can use the code also to get 2% cash back.
Up to 3 bills.
Gold is down today as well. Was that a call for Adara? All right, Andre, let's go.
This part of the show is brought to you by our friends at WorkSport. Introducing a new discovery on the NASDAQ, WorkSport, ticker WKSP. WorkSport's a US-based manufacturer, and they are rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off-grid. So whether you're on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, WorkSport has you covered. Now trading on the NASDAQ under WKSP. Discover the future of clean energy with WorkSport. Back to you.
All right, another one, WKSP, go double check on that. Yeah, no, I mean, I try to gamble a little bit. I actually had the Maple Leafs money line, which was minus 175. I had that on the weekend. They won 5-0. So very good week ahead for the Maple Leafs as they go to the Florida belt there and face Tampa Bay and the Panthers. Amazing that Toronto's looking to win the Atlantic Division for the first time ever this year. So fun for everybody here. The city is buzzing with the Maple Leafs right now. And then a shout out to Neil just left. Well, he'll be right back. But we want to say the Blue Jays and Rogers right now overpaying for Vladimir Guerrero. That is for sure. The second most valued contract, current value, $500 million there for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Shout out to Rogers and everybody there for the Blue. All right. Trump is live right now, people are saying. Well, the good thing about even if he is or is not, we do have Adara ready to go. So if there's anything that hits, we will get that to you. I was just talking about gold making a move today as well. Yeah. Down, right? I mean, gold even off that sort of move there early. Gold likes the no tariff talk as well. That wasn't no tariff talk, but there was that White House rumor there. And we tweeted it out. Thanks to Derek. Join Adara and Neil on the after show as they'll go over all the rumors, the ups and downs, the bumps and grinds there today so far. But at the end of the day, gold continues to make a downside play there. Again, like if you were looking to diversify, I wonder if we're just getting, a little bit of I don't know, like gift horse right here because, this move is happening right in front of us right now on gold.
What was that you said?
I knew. I was waiting for you to come back for that one. But are you looking this gift horse directly in the mouth? And that is, of course, that of gold, where it's just pulled back into 270. Like if you were saying you wanted to get a little bit less pressure on these markets or onto your portfolio and diversify somewhere else, financials not really working out too well. Gold could be there for you as well. So we like gold. Energy is another thing that's not working out lately. Silver was up today. It looks like it will still stay positive. So good on you, silver, as hi-ho silver, as that continues. You know what movie I wanted to watch that I haven't got a chance to? You and I talked about The Three Amigos with Steve Martin and
Yes.
Chevy Chase and all that. I really want to find that on some sort of I don't know what streaming service it's on, but if you guys know, it's Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, and Martin Short, I believe. And it is hilarious.
It's one of the funniest.
Maybe Peacock. Yeah, it's
silly.
You know what? I think it's one of those ones, Neil, that if you and I watched it again,
it probably doesn't hold up.
It's probably not the greatest, but
I'm not sure it holds up as well as I think it does because I haven't watched it yet.
Like I watched Tommy Boy for the probably 700th time or something.
Holds up just fine.
It's great, but now I know everything in it, so it's kind of like. But anyways, I want to watch that with my kids. I found an edited Step Brothers that I guess airs on MTV. It airs a lot on Paramount and everything in the States.
What do you mean by what does edited mean? I don't.
Oh, for cable, edited.
Oh, so I get
like
you. I get
not
you.
explicit.
I get you. So clean.
Clean. Yeah. Well, edited. Yeah.
Yeah,
because I feel like Step Brothers are fun. So we actually watched that with my kids. It was actually pretty funny. The 13-year-old anyways, and he thought that was pretty fun.
My daughter can't.
Let's go to Adair, and then we'll talk more family life. Adair, what's up?
As we get this push to the upside here on the NASDAQ with about 40 minutes to go in the trading day, we have this not really press conference, but question and answer session between Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel and President Donald Trump of the United States. They're answering questions here in the Oval Office. As you know, their earlier press conference had been canceled, and Netanyahu saying that Israel will eliminate its trade deficit with the U.S. and eliminate trade barriers. So Netanyahu saying some things that could suggest Israel willing to negotiate here on tariffs. Let's find out if there anything else to come of this meeting, but worth noting here, Netanyahu indicating that Israel is willing to eliminate its trade deficit with America. Back to you.
I mean, boats and hoes.
What's he? Okay.
Boats and hoes.
Before we get into it, just a couple of things here. Apple, we did get Apple 179.5. It pulled back just underneath 179. These moves in the morning are insane, but tried to get some when it bounced off of VWAP at 180 on the way back down. And then at the same time, Palantir came back and filled in front of 77. It's pulling back into 76, but there's buyers at 76 on Palantir. Like every time it gets to 76, it bounces like a dollar change. So Palantir is strong today. It's up 3%. It's a ridiculous bottoming tail candle. I know they all are, but with the market above VWAP, I think this time I'll just take it out in front of that 76 level. Apple is just a weaker name. You should be a scalp short. Apple is weaker, no question. It's under VWAP. Like if I should be holding one, it's hold on to Apple and reload that and just take the money on what you can get on Palantir. That's going to be the plan of action. Tom H., I forgot to mention that I saw that JNVR when it was halting before and forgot to give you guys taps. Although when it halted the first time, I don't think we were seeing a good tap on it. It just went up. I don't know why this doesn't just say like 1,000%, but you can see 1 point. It's up 1,000%, everybody. It's just weird.
Oh, that's what Sharif was talking.
It goes to 1.08K on our system %, which if you just take a quick glance at it, just kind of weird to show it that way. But now at $47, so this is the one. There's been a few of these lately, Newsmax, obviously, but a big-time squeeze play. Just remember how a lot of these end up turning out. No one ever went broke taking profit. I always just show you the daily chart so that you can make your own judgment when you look at a daily chart. But that's obviously an insane move up. Sometimes it holds for multiple days, so congratulations there. But if I had something that was $4 yesterday and was at 46 or 47, I'd probably want to make sure I made money on it. Don't turn a winning trade into a losing trade, anybody.
So I just took some time off there. This year's Catalina wine mixer is in August, so I'm going to go.
The what?
Brought my pen. The Catalina wine mixer. It's the thing at the end of. It's the big event at the end of Step Brothers.
Oh, I was gonna.
Where they get together, and then that's where he sings, and it's
was
just so funny.
My mind was in the wrong place to be able to get the movie
wine
reference.
Mixer, yeah, it's funny because Will Ferrell is like. He's like, he never sings, right? He's like, he has the voice of a bird or something like that, he says. And then he's like, yeah, but he's very shy. He never sings at all. And then at the end of Step Brothers, he does some sort of a opera. It's a very famous opera.
A very good movie.
And it belts it out there. And the guy's in the back playing. It's the biggest helicopter leasing event.
There you go.
Mentioning there. So if you are in the helicopter business, man, the Catalina wine mixer is one that you don't want to miss. And also, man, if you are a news reporter, we had a little bit talk about journalists and so on and so forth. I think Sharif wanted to be a journalist in the reserve, I think it was, for the Canadian Reserve. Newsmax.
I wouldn't do it.
Newsmax, right there. Again, you want to talk about something going up 1,000%. I don't think this went up, well, maybe it did. From $14 up to $250. I have no idea what that percentage is, but that's over 2 days. And then from $250 right back down to $47 again. I have no idea where eventually this thing will settle down, but Newsmax starting to go up 5% today. So that could get, we know it has, some power underneath it, as well as CoreWeave right there. The most recent IPO of any real significance, obviously Newsmax is that as well, but CoreWeave's major clients, and what these guys do would be Google and Amazon and all that, and what they'll do is lease out the servers and the GPUs and whatnot from NVIDIA. So, you know, if you're looking to get a bunch of H100s and all that, you know, CoreWeave would be what their business is much more complicated than that, but as it goes out, these are the guys where you build on top of, they'll rent you the equipment, charge you probably absurd prices, but again, cheaper than having to buy all those H100s yourself. So CoreWeave, as long as we have base of CapEx spending, I think CoreWeave will be fine. It's going to be really interesting now that they're public to finally see that when we do have an Amazon or a Google or a Microsoft or a Meta, you know, all the hyperscalers, whenever they report, it's going to be really interesting to see how CoreWeave reacts, because if you do have some negativity there on CapEx and whatnot, then you'll definitely see CoreWeave feeling some waves from that. So pretty interesting to see how that one winds up trading. So I'm interested as well to see what CoreWeave looks like in the next earnings cycle. So yeah, another name, just kind of like how I think ARM probably a little safer because CoreWeave, I'm already well invested in the big NASDAQ 100. ARM a little different than some of those.
Well, ARM's chart's really bad.
No, I know ARM's chart is bad, but I just mean like, I feel like if NVIDIA has a really bad quarter, then probably CoreWeave does as well. And
yes.
So on and so forth, it flows through. At least ARM is in what, 97% of the cell phones?
Yeah.
And they don't really discriminate between Apple or Samsung or all that. So, anyways,
it's difficult to want to own CoreWeave if you already own a bunch of NVIDIA. That's what I can't wrap my head around.
That's what I'm saying.
Like it looks like maybe it's a good buy, but then why am I not just dip buying NVIDIA at a forward P under 20 right now? I just can't wrap my head around why I do that, because I have the problem of like just ending up in too many stocks when you don't do that, where you just focus on, well, what do you think is the best for this type of a play? Mine is it's a cleanup thing. Like I was just cleaning up some crap, like selling some like Oracle that I owned for years. Ended up looking like a genius, but I should have also sold it like months ago. I just heard, I think we're going to a by the way, before we go, I did get that Palantir bid. It's just holding a range. You guys can see it, 77 to 76, which is wild because like Tom was saying, it had a $16 range bottom to top. Now it can't just move more than $1. But let's go over to Adara, still in Apple. We'll see how that goes with only 30 minutes to go.
Donald Trump talking about tariffs right now during his Q&A. He was asked about tariffs. He's, of course, having this Q&A with Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel. People asked Donald Trump about his threat for 50% tariffs in China and how he views the market. Donald Trump says that he is not considering any pause on tariffs and that he will do negotiations, but these negotiations will absolutely be benefiting the U.S. because he has to put America first. He is not really concerned about other countries within this negotiation. He also did repeat his 50% tariff threat on China that he posted earlier today on Truth Social. So just be aware here, Donald Trump talking about tariffs right now. Back to you.
Okay.
So just got to be, yeah, like it's,
we're out of the future.
No new, I won't put anything new
Apple
on. That's for sure. Like I got out of Palantir. We're still in Apple. I think I'm bidding, yeah, we're bidding in front of 177. Apple had a triple bottom at 176. And with the imbalances coming on and through, I would suspect we're going to see some imbalances today. Call that a hunch. A little extra volatility today.
A little bit.
I don't know if you guys noticed that, but there was some volatility today. Like Apple has a $20 range bottom to top. $20. You just don't see that. So I'm expecting there's buyers down here, and I want to take that profit out in front of those imbalances. Hopefully there'll be some kind of a trade. I don't want to trail out of that Walgreens, but it doesn't really make a difference. What else are you guys looking at? Yeah, those Chinese, man. Chinese names. Baba's going to be short seller. I forgot to mention this. Baba's going to be SSR tomorrow. And anything that's relatively weak, I don't know that I'd want to be long today. But tomorrow, when this is short sell restricted, and you're possibly testing $100 even, or the 200 period moving average becomes in play, that's a different story. Well, I kind of like this tomorrow for the 100 level, but as far as today goes, I don't think I want to touch it here. You're so headline driven, and it's late in the day. Chinese ADRs don't move.
Yeah, no, I was going to look up Alibaba I was looking up Alibaba there, and it just not much of that name. All right, so, you know what one we haven't looked at in a minute here today, I didn't hear anybody on the midday show talk about it either, is going to be our boy Robin Hood. So what's up, Robin Hood? Yeah, $35. So a nice move upside for Robinhood. I mean, again, wow. That had a 30 handle on it. Say it ain't so, Robinhood. That's a great level. $30, Robinhood. Like I said, man, it's not that. Okay, well, President Trump there making quite a bold claim, saying the Gaza war will end in the not too soon future, or very soon, is what he was saying right there. So we're going to wait to see there. That is a bold statement. I'd be liking to hear that, and I do hope so for anything there. So we'll get that a little bit, but we'll be ending very, very soon. There, I believe, is what I just heard. So we'll wait for that.
That's what he said.
To hit. Okay, so yeah, so we both heard that as well there. So we'll wait to see if that's the case. And I mean, you could look at an LMT, Lockheed Martin, if anything like that. Start Raytheon as well. We can look at not much movement happening on any of these plays. Things starting to move around now as the market maybe takes a little serious.
We just caught a bid a little.
Yeah,
bit.
take from. I mean, is it from that? I don't know, but there goes a little bit of a bid there as well. So again, good outs here on the futures to end the day with on that one. We're trading pretty light right now, but there's the bounce off of VWAP again. So I don't, despite sort of the damage, and we put a lot of damage on the board, that is for sure here today. But the thing is, like I said, it's my best day in the last 5 years. So at the end of the day, we'll wait to see what happens. I don't know if right now, because where'd my charts go? Because Trump is speaking, I don't know if it's the right idea here to play off of VWAP or anything like that. Probably best just to hang out. The market's not going to care about any of these key levels. It's just going to care about what's coming from the White House. And I feel like right now, the right thing to do would be to hold off. This is what the imbalances look like. They're pretty good and pretty mixed so far. NEO, not TransCanada, their pipeline, TRP, but we'll have to wait to see what happens with NIO. Down 4% still, under 3. We talked about this earlier, where this price was $3 and change. That's looking pretty low there for NIO as well. But XOM, ooh, that could have been all right, that, oil, nice bounce back, but I don't know if it had that huge move today, did it? Oh, yes, it did. Wow, XOM at $98. Like I said, man, this is going to be a learning spot. Like, there's lots of things that you could jump in there and buy. I don't know if it's time yet. I'm feeling like for me, I want to wait for banks to report. If the banks can start to go a little bit, I'm going to be more excited about getting back into the market. I want to make sure that, we're not exactly buying all these dips, but buying ones based on something. And if the banks can get us going, then I think we'll like that better than anything else. We're going to wait for banks, but XOM and XLE and CVX was the next one.
In 3 days went from its 52-week high to the bottom.
Grab the dividend too.
Like this stock, like its entire range since 2023 is 170 top, 138 bottom. It just did that in the last 3 days. Like, that's what's crazy about this. So like I'm actually kicking myself that I'm considering whether I want to be buying that one. Let's go to Adair for some breaking news. I might pick some up.
Keep an eye on these defense plays. I have Palantir. Oh, sorry, this is Boeing. You can look at Palantir, LMT, RTX. Basically, Donald Trump saying they're going to be cutting one of the biggest deals that's ever been cut with the military. He's also citing Doge as part of this effort. So regardless, they're saying that there's going to be a lot of military spending as they continue to push and pursue their efforts here with the military, with a variety of operations. So just keep an eye on Boeing, Palantir. We had some comments as well from Pete Hegseth, who was the U.S. Secretary of Defense. So watch out for these defense plays. Apparently, Trump talking about boosting defense spending. Back to you.
Where's my Palantir hat? And I didn't even think, I don't know where it is. Oh, it's over there. I didn't even think about Palantir when we were talking about defense. I went right to Lockheed Martin. But shout out to Justin.
Yeah,
no, I was saying that this is my best day of the year for me, not the best day of the month or anything like that. So, and yeah, it is because I had the largest position I've ever had on the TQ. And it was with a pretty small stop too. So again, it gave us the bottoms there. So we were just trying to play and we didn't play. And it just blew up. Like, I wish I had known, obviously, that it was going to go as much as it did. We caught basically on the largest position I've ever had on the futures. We caught basically that's 35 up to 45. So that's $10. That's 35%, like real 35% return there. So yeah, so far, so good here today, which is why we're a little light right now on what we're trying to do.
Palantir's kind of racing here a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, we nailed that Palantir 70 long already. But there it goes, just exactly as it was written there, Nas style from
It
Adara.
just went $2.
Yeah,
Right quick on that headline.
I should have.
So it's no, it's like it's nothing against Boeing or anything. No, Boeing went $2.50 too. So I guess they're all running in earnest. But everything just bounced a little bit. So we were short Palantir earlier, and it just kept bouncing off 76. It bounced off 76, goes to 78. Don't think I like the reload when you have positive news for the defense sector heading into the end of the day there. But everything caught a bit of a bid. Like we just bounced NASDAQ. So here's what. I typed in the chat, there's a buyer at 78 instead of 77 on Apple. And like, okay, yeah, you get out in front of it. But the NASDAQ just bounced clean off of, there it's a little bit better for you guys to see now, 17.4. That's pretty much, that's the low from Friday. Not that it matters that much, but we bounced off that as clean as you would like, 17.4. And when that happens, and you get that positive headline, I mean, just sometimes the futures just go, and sometimes the market just drags everything with it. So I don't know if there'll be another setup toward the end of the day here that we can take. I don't know if I want to short any of these moves. And as Sean showed you guys on the imbalances, it's not as if there's anything crazy yet. I think you'll see some big ones on the NASDAQ, but nothing really stands out. I mean, HPE, who cares about HPE? Probably somebody out there. I suppose there's somebody that cares about HPE.
Somebody does.
But I think it's going to be Apple or NVIDIA, or maybe Tesla shows up on there, and then you get some goods with one of those types of names. But certainly, they're ripping some faces off. We just went red to green again on the market, which is wild at how many times we have done that here today. It's just been an absolute battle. But just having a quick look at it would be nice if Palantir maybe regained the trend from VWAP here and just sort of broke back out above it, because it's actually respecting it still, but I don't want to be short it. So I'm not going to, it's respecting the trend line, but I don't want to be short. I'd rather it break the top than anything else.
We do have, you can go back. If you did miss that huge rally, you can go back and do a tick replay with it on eSignal. Find out, hey, where did I screw up, or where didn't I, and where did I get it, and what else should have I done? That's a tool that's helped me immensely in trying to figure out, you know, should I be holding something? Where can this thing go? It's also great because it also fills out the back testing for any of your indicators as well. So make sure you do check out eSignal. We do have that QR code up. It does connect over 50+ brokers. You do have, again, pretty much built-in studies. So if you're looking for anchored VWAP, it's there built in. If you're looking for anything, right? Any of the lines that me and Neil use, just normal VWAP, 50-period moving average. Obviously, it's extremely customizable. Fibonacci, everything like that. Plus these hot lists and these scanners. I mean, they're the ones that are indicating to us what's been popular. Wow, SOXL is $9, by the way. Anyways, as this continues to go up and down on your screen, make sure you do scan that QR code. Again, great customer service. It's all there. Joe, I even heard Joe mention, I believe he had found the options chain pretty useful that they have there as well. So again, eSignal, get your all-in-one charting platform today with eSignal. We are proud to give that 1 month free. We had to, you know, twist some necks to get that.
Well, hopefully arms. I mean, you twist a neck, you might kill someone.
Well, the arm, I was trying to get the guy, you know, trying to get his arm, but it wasn't working. Strong guys.
You just, yeah, we'll just put him in chokehold next time.
Wait for the chokehold. And we got that for, I was doing it for
dangerous.
you guys.
Dangerous chokehold.
Whatever. I mean, the judge told me not to do that anymore, but, you know, hard to hold me down, I guess.
You know what your move is, and it's not the chokehold. It's the
sharpshooter. You know, I got to represent.
It's the Superman punch. Don't you remember?
Oh, the Superman punch. Yeah. Oh, I remember. Yeah, I told you where I'm from. I don't know. People like
First
now
of all,
you're bringing.
That wasn't even in Brampton. So don't even.
I know, but I'm from the streets of Brampton. This is what
it was.
So now Neil justifying.
It was in the streets of.
Okay.
It was on Waterloo. It was in Waterloo.
Yeah, where we went to school. Yeah, I mean, if I have to deal with people in Waterloo, it'll happen, or Brampton, or wherever. But those are my old days. Now we're nice and calm down. We are family man now. You know, now my fee to do that to people is way higher than it was in the past. So, Jane and Finch, I do not go there either. So I do not go there either. I just throw shade from the seat. We don't have to worry about it. Yeah, back in the day.
What else we got going on?
Roman Reigns, yeah, exactly. Actually, I haven't watched WWE since I went to the Elimination Chamber. Elimination Chamber was so much fun, man. My kid wants to go. Anybody have tickets for Vegas there where WrestleMania is? I can't even imagine. Now WrestleMania is 2 nights. Like the amount of money that would cost. would be insane, I would imagine. To get tickets to both nights, plus food, drink.
In Vegas?
Yeah, it's in Vegas. It's in that new, what is it, Allegiant Stadium or whatever it
come
is
up.
there in Vegas. Looks gorgeous. They've really done well in Vegas, man. All that stuff is there on the Strip. I haven't been in probably 10 years, but definitely would love to
Oh,
go
so you've
back.
been to Vegas, eh? No, just
Love to go back to Vegas. Yeah, I've been 3 or 4 times. I mean, it's been a lot of fun.
yeah, that Trader TV meetup in Vegas that we keep.
That you're organizing? Yeah, how's that going?
Yeah, it's going
It's
fantastic.
going fantastically. We're about to announce very soon.
No, we're no. Well, look, the running joke is I've never been to Vegas.
Exactly. Oktoberfest. Yes. Exactly.
But yeah, at some point it'll happen. My wife was just in Vegas for a conference. I'm grabbing out of this Walgreens. It's not really moving anymore, so it's not breaking the highs. There's overhead resistance. It's not moving, doing anything but sideways. I'm kind of hoping that there's something crazy that happens in 10 minutes on the imbalances because of the volatility that we have. But there's still only, like, FXI just popped up 1.5 million. But we saw this before. I think it was like 3 or 4 million on the imbalance for FXI, and it still didn't move it. So that probably has to be 5, 6, maybe even 7 or 8 million shares to be any good there. KO is on here. AT&T. I mean, AT&T is probably not something that's going to matter, but I don't know. Coke might be something for a couple of million. It's only done 24, so that's about 10% of the day's volume on the current imbalance for KO. So I might throw that one up to go with Apple and Nvidia, the usual suspects that we'll look for at the end of the day, for sure. Yeah, look at that. Vegas is Disneyland for adults. Yeah, but I'm like married now, so I don't know how crazy it would get. It wouldn't be like.
What did your wife think of it?
Well, she's there for a work conference.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, and she's kind of like, when my wife entered a 10K.
All right, but what did she think of Vegas?
So she enjoyed it, but she went to like one show that she enjoyed, but she didn't really, like, she's not much of a party. She's definitely not into gambling. She doesn't do casinos or whatever like that. Like, I would go and I'd probably play a little poker. So I think I would enjoy Vegas more. I love magic shows. She's not really that into it, so I think it's
the new David Blaine thing.
Like, I love magic. My daughter loves magic as well. So, but yeah, my wife, it's kind of like she enjoyed it, but it's not like the kind of place that she'd choose to go for on a vacation. So,
Right.
which makes the irony of the fact that she was there.
You know what I'm doing? I'm spending way too much money on Pokemon cards.
Still?
Like, not still. My 13-year-old there is into Pokemon cards now.
Okay.
So it's like, they're like $10 a pack. There's Journey to something. There's a new pack out. Right, exactly. Yeah, better that than drugs. Thank you, Fabian. But yeah, so there's the new packs are out, and now he's all honest because we have Costco membership. So now he's like, okay, because he's been reading like, the big drops happen at Costco, and so we're gonna try to get that. My wife was at Costco today as well. Journey to
Speaking of
Excel.
Costco,
what are the
by
new
the
ones
way.
called? Anyways, there's some new ones out there that he's been buying.
Did you see Costco today?
No, I don't even want to look at Costco. I mean, they're all probably huge up.
Well,
I didn't go in and dip buy anything.
It's more that, like, some of when you look at the daily chart, some of the candle wicks that you see today are just the kind that if this was the bottom, it's just going to leave a lot of people shaking their heads. Because Costco's in particular, look at $880. Like, you don't have to. You tell me, was there buyers before at that price and then it just held, and then a bottoming tail wick right into that same prior low, and boom, to the right to the upside. So, like, if this is a temporary bottom, like, those are the kind of levels. If you like Costco, I already said I'm buying Walmart instead of Costco this year, mostly because I already owned Walmart, and I just figure I'll stick with the one that's worked for me and just add to that instead of adding another stock to the list, which I feel like it's been a lot of trouble. Dewey saying short SMCI. SMCI has been
together.
been a rocket ship today. I don't see an entry for it short necessarily. I guess what I'm guessing you're looking at, and this is just a guess, would be since it bounced off VWAP, it's holding a clean trend line. But then the way I look at it is I tried that trade on Palantir, and it was a very muted trade. Like, we're just not getting the moves off of those types of of reversions that you'd expect. Like usually you want a trend reversion. Also, it's 344, and I don't like taking a reversion right in front of the imbalances because I feel like you're just now at the mercy of a coin flip.
That's right. I didn't realize how late it was.
So unless like you want, like for me, if I'm trading in front of the imbalances, I want to be trading off a level and not a mean reversion in the middle of nowhere. That's just my preference here. Mean Gene likes Hood as rock solid today. But there's so much. There's so much that looks all the same. Same chart. Big move, pull back into VWAP. Like anything that dipped at the open, you buy, and then it dipped back into VWAP and you went long. It literally didn't matter what you picked today, as long as it wasn't a Chinese ADR, because they all stunk. But everything else, when we pulled back in, the NASDAQ bounced off VWAP, Amazon bounced off VWAP, Apple bounced, okay, maybe not Apple. NVIDIA bounced off the volume weighted average price in here, same thing. I bet you AMD did exactly the same thing. A little bit adjacent, but then that held as support the entire rest of the day. You know, I have to slap a fail on myself. You know why I'm slapping a fail? Because clearly I intended to take the short on AMD when it bounced off VWAP the first time. I guess I was feeling bearish on AMD and it looks like it would have worked, but I didn't pull the trigger. But that one mean reversion, if you took it, was $3. Trying to figure why I didn't make this trade. Oh, it happened after 11 o'clock. Sometimes we finish and then I go do something else or answer something from like my wife or whatever it might be, and then you just get a little bit distracted after we finish the morning show. But AMD still down 3 points. This is another chart where it looks fantastic for today on the bounce, but yuckity yuck yuck on the daily chart. Still looks awful on AMD. Valuation's getting better though.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting better every day. On AMD, like Trump said, maybe he's just bringing down these P's so we can buy them all up again right now. You are right, Tia. Mr. Sean is resting on his profits here this afternoon. Like I said, I just don't want to throw anything away. We've done really well today, and we're willing to sit here, talk, have some good times. Yeah, just show you guys, you know, what's good, what's been happening, what's up with some of these imbalances, talk a little bit about our expectations for Friday. We talked about the bank stocks there as well. We talked a little bit about oil there, a little bit about Robinhood and some of the names that were moving around, some Costco, some XLE, some XLM. Disney, I really think Disney's going to be a buy down there. I may pull the trigger, although I am disconnecting Disney. That's the one stream.
So you're getting rid of your Disney, but you still like it? But the thing is, it's
the streaming service in my opinion sucks.
It's theme parks and
exactly. They're losing money on
cruise lines.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see them spin off. I'd like to see them spin off ESPN, things like that. So if they can get, well, actually, you know, like whatever happened with Fubo, you know, for us by us
with
there.
Apple TV or something.
Yeah, I don't know. They had Fubo. Remember, they had that deal there. And I don't know whatever has gone down with that one. I don't know if that went sour. It didn't go sour. I mean, it was fine, but I don't know if they're implementing sports into their
catalog is like, here's the thing. They've got Star Wars. They've got Marvel. They have this big catalog, and they have all of the Disney kid stuff. You should just partner up with somebody better. Just deal with it. You know what I'm saying, Disney? Just partner the streaming with somebody else, and then all of a sudden, just not to rail on them or anything. But I used to own Disney as well. I'm just like, Netflix is good. I'm good with Netflix. And Fubo, like I said, every Airbnb we stay in the U.S., there's like a Fubo TV. It feels like in every.
Oh, is there?
Everywhere. Every time we go to Florida.
What is it, like a Roku? I thought Fubo TV.
No, it's Roku. No, it's not Fubo. It's Roku. Fubo is just the app, but like there's Roku in every single room, which is weird because I
didn't want to look at Roku stock. That might be $30. I don't even know.
No, it can't be that bad. Okay. No. 50's 50. It's in the 50s.
50s? What was it on Friday? Okay, it's not even loading up for you. How low did it go?
52.
52. Okay, so.
But it was, remember, that's exactly 50% from the highs. 104. Like I could draw the tool. I don't even, whatever. You guys, I'm not using the tool. You guys can see that. 105 to 52 at the bottom. So it gets cut in half in just a matter of weeks. Every chart looks like this, but it's like if this is the bottom, how good of a buy is that? I'd rather buy more quality companies. If I'm dip buying things this year, company better be making money. I'll tell you that much. Better got that cash flow going for sure.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Yeah, we want to buy good companies, and that's the hesitant about buying some of the companies that have reported negative EPSs and stuff. just be careful with all that. I feel like that's why the only thing I've been dip buying has been the NASDAQ and the ES. So no names yet for your. Okay, we're getting pretty close here to those imbalances. So whether or not you're in them or not, they're coming out, and they're coming out right here, 349. So we can go over there. Let's check out what's going to happen maybe with NVIDIA. We hadn't, oopsies. You know what? We hadn't looked at Tesla in a minute. Let's just do that quickly, just to have a quick look to see what's going on with Tesla right now. So wow, down into 230. We did talk about maybe there being some VWAP love there for TSLA, and it looks like it's trying to do a little something there with that level. So you can see if we're going to bounce off of that. We could get a Tesla rip. Well, it just depends on where these imbalances come. So here we go. With only now 25 seconds left, we're going to get rid of the source. Right now, it's just a feature that we have here. I'm going to get rid of it and then only look at the New York and the NASDAQ imbalances. So they'll disappear right now, and then we'll get ready to go when they show up. So far, so good here today. As we're getting very close, 5, 4, watch out for the market, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So Tesla right now is 230. There it goes. Quick as you like, Sharif, down to 229 now. I only say that because that's his word. Wow, NVIDIA. Maybe we should have shorted that one. There goes
10 million.
Yeah, there goes NVIDIA. Big time sell imbalance there. I'm going to go short a little bit against 97. If we break 97, then we can get out of NVIDIA. There we go. We're now short NVIDIA right here into that big imbalance. Let's see how low can we go. I told you that we'll be into some risk spots if we do see fit. This is just a move. But the thing is, it just cranked $1 on that. This is why, man, fat fingers can't deal with algos. Algos will hit that even before you, whoopsies, even where to go, even before you can see it, that NVIDIA imbalance is already taken care of by the algos. Look, it came out, it was 17 and 6, so we had 23 or so million already, and it's already starting to get paired off. So we'll wait a little bit lower, but a breakthrough 97 and we're gone. I wanted to try something, so we did that right there. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Google pairing down as well. So I don't know. Adara always gives it to us. So there it is right there.
2.4.
Yeah, 2.4 to sell $1 billion. NASDAQ 2.4, almost all of it there. So the Dow is small and so is the S&P, but it's the market is 2.4 and the NASDAQ's 2.4. So primarily the big dogs wagging the tail here today.
Yeah, I mean, I tried the same thing, and it doesn't look like it wants to hold at 97. And this is the trouble with the trade.
It just,
especially if it breaks.
I just got out.
Oh, yeah, it just broke. This is the problem with the trade. The algos got the first part of that move. So by the time you're getting underneath 97, it's already like 97's like half is where it's coming from. So you need it to be a really, really big move. But the fact it didn't drop through support is kind of telling there at 96.5 on NVIDIA. The NASDAQ holds 17.4. Despite the 2.4 billion to the sell side, the NASDAQ just holds the line and says, who cares? Right at 420, of course. Because why wouldn't the Qs be at 420 in VWAP? But that's exactly what they held. They said 2.4 million sell imbalance, be darned. It doesn't really matter. So unfortunately, no trade there. Yeah, it would have been nice. And again, you never really know if it's going to be able to move it. Intel, look, Intel was a 3 million sell imbalance. Try to remember, NVIDIA is a $100 stock. Well, not anymore, it's not. But you know what I mean. Doing 5 million on the imbalance. Intel, only 3 million, and it's a $19 stock. So why would you try that? Because it's not going to move Intel too much. It would have to be like 10 million shares on Intel for it to be a big one. TLT is not going to matter. And Alphabet is there at 1.7, not to gloss over it. That's interesting. Lamb doesn't usually have an imbalance. 1.9 million sell imbalance on Lamb. That's not normal, but it's not moving. There you go. Like Lamb, that's 10% of the day's volume as an imbalance on Lamb, and it's not even moving. Kind of disappointing. So I'm not going to touch that at all. But if I thought Lamb was breaking down, maybe you take a shot there because that's a significant number for Lamb.
Yeah, why not?
It's not moving though, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, I don't man. Lamb Rogan Josh or whatever there for my South Asian friends. Okay, so yeah, don't worry. It's that's Brampton. You know, I mean, I'm here, guys. All right, so let's just go 77 there. So we'll look at Palantir going out at up 4%. So good job there for everybody that's looking at some PLTR. It looks like that will try to hold out as well. The NASDAQ, you know, pretty meh all afternoon. I mean, you had some good moves. There's no doubt about that, but we didn't get like that overexcitement there, as we will wait for imbalances there. So that's what we've been doing right there so far. Let me just go back over to the imbalances real quick. So NVIDIA, although we got stopped out when it did, wait a minute. What prices were we in on NVIDIA? I mean, it's just, this is so jacked, this chart. Okay, look at that. So it does wind up making the move down. So yay for us on that one, but boo that we got out. NVIDIA is still making a downside move. Remember, those imbalances will pair off now. So get ready at 355. These will pair off. If it stays red, though, like if NVIDIA goes downside and continues to stay red, we could have a much bigger move that winds up happening. Unfortunately, we did get stopped out there into that play. So, yeah, we'll wait to see what happens. In 30 seconds, we'll come back with some of those imbalances.
Yes, sir. And by the way, Trade the Pool right now isn't just a new option for trading. It's a new mindset for stock traders. Forget the old rule book where big trades meant big risk. With Trade the Pool, you can trade real stocks with massive capital and only put down $47 to get started. Your loss is capped, your profits unlimited. This is about breaking barriers, not your bank account. So if you're ready to trade big without the usual fear of losing it all, head to tradethepool.com, scan the QR code you see in front of you, check the link in the description there for traders looking to trade firm capital. And speaking of things that you can do when trading, looks like we all paired off here because NVIDIA is gone. TLT is to the buy side at 4 million. Not really going to matter too much. I think HPE there, we see that every single time. But NVIDIA, there it is when it paired. Right to the upside. So that move to the short. Like if you have to be short so early at a very good price like the algos do there. And it doesn't look like much, but that actually is $1.50 that NVIDIA bounces at 355 if you're able to grab it. Obviously that LAM LRCX there must have paired off as well, but it didn't even move. Not even budging on a couple million shares there for LAM. Little surprised that wasn't a little bit more exciting. Palantir, remember, we'll watch this one tomorrow because it wasn't just the everything rally. Remember some positive, a bit of a positive headline for some of the defense names here late in the day, and Palantir holding on to that 76, where it started buying from. Another one of these great looking candles on the daily chart, reversal candle, right off of prior support. This bottom on Palantir, by the way, this is just from when in our platform when it went from New York to NASDAQ,
Right.
this just happened to be the low. So it looks like, oh, look at that support at 64. It is a bit of a double bottom, but that's just because it's not showing you from when it was on the New York. Either way, great day for Palantir, up 5% today and holding above resistance on Friday. That's a key. Anything that's breaking away from the Friday levels, I like a little bit more than things like, and I'm looking at you, Apple. Down 3.5%.
Yeah.
This is the one name. Like you're looking at your long-term account of like what did things do today, and this is the one that's like, really? We did this from the bottom, and you're still down 3.5%, and you're not even anywhere close to some of the highs. I'm disappointed in you, Apple, but I can understand why. It's still that China risk,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I mean, we're still friends with Apple. Disappointed in them.
I didn't sell any stocks, so it is.
There.
It's 357. I just realized.
All right, so get up to the desk. Is that what you're trying to do?
I'm probably going to get up there.
Okay.
Make sure that everything is. The last couple times I've gone to there, something has always changed when I get there. And I said it at like 1:30. I'm like, hey, get up there, get it all comfortable. And then something is always changed. But I'm going to get up there. Great day today.
Yeah, man, good.
We'll see you, everybody. We got the market recap, myself, Adair. There's a couple of earnings named. Levi's if you're into jeans.
Ooh.
Or old jeans. I don't know if they're.
Yeah. Well, if you buy a good pair, they never get old, right? I mean, you just keep on wearing them, washing them. They probably look pretty good old. There, I saw some dude. He was wearing, I don't know, it was weird. They had like brown patches on his jeans this weekend. I was like, what?
Nope.
I knew I was in Peterborough when. Shout out to Peterborough. All right, just small suburb there near Toronto, northeast.
Good.
Is anybody from Peterborough around here? Great city. Don't mean to throw shade at it. It was a lot of fun there in Peterborough. Don't ever get those Minecraft Minecraft meals. It was $19.79. How much it cost, or something like that. $19 and change for the Minecraft meal here. Comes with that the nether sauce. It's pretty spicy. That nether sauce, pretty good as well. My kid got it, and we wound up splitting. It was 10 nuggets, like $20. I'm like, hey, I got to buy the stock there. of McDonald's. All right, a minute and a half left. Oh, I wanted to show you guys TLT as well. So the Treasury there today. The TLT is the 10-year, I believe, or is it the 20-year? I know it's a 10, right? 20, okay, 20-year. So 20-year today down again 3%. It's had a nice move, but today I know Brendan was also talking about rates a little bit earlier on this morning, but there you go. Rates did have a huge move upside there, looking to break out, and then I'm not sure about sort of the dynamic today, but they do fall back in there today. So we can check out the 20-year Treasury itself, but just the stock, the TLT downside for today. So again, down 3% there as we go. All right, man, there's TLT. What do you guys want to look at as we go out here? I'm really glad that I don't have to hit the bell anymore because it's on automatic. So there's Tesla, nice move on. We actually, remember we talked about this 228, so let's get rid of these imbalances. Not much happening now with only 30 seconds left. There it is, man. We talked about some of these lows. Looks like they do come in here for Tesla. And if you were able to take them, then no stress on that one because comes right back into this 228. We said VWAP could be a trade there on Tesla. As there it goes, man. The closing bell perfectly timed once again. And I don't have to do anything. So Adara, you wore the green and the bounce back today in the market, epic. So there it is, man. It works again. 3, 2, 1. This closing bell is brought to you by Foremost Clean Energy. Scan that QR code that was on your screen to go check out more of FMST. Thank you so much for watching today. It's been a big day for many of us around here, and I hope it's been the same thing for you. Join us tomorrow, man. We set records today. We look to do the same thing tomorrow. This market is not going to stop. I know it was a Monday, so we got really excited and we had that capitulation talk and things like that. But if this market is even up or down 1% tomorrow heading into the open, it's going to be a wild day. Like with all the tariff talk, just keep focused. Do yourself, I mean, I know a lot of you have done this, but stay focused on certain names. You know, we had 3 or 4 written down, and it was just the one that really, well, this and Palantir, futures and Palantir really popped. Stay focused on what you're doing these days. Pick a trade, try to nail it, and risk manage. Thank you so much. It was the perfect day, the perfect bell ring, the perfect everything, and you're about to have a perfect recap show. So for me here, thanks Brendo, Neil, Adara, Sharif, welcome back, my guy. Joe as well, Obi, Andre, Ramin, and some guy named Fabian. So thank you to everybody today. Thank you, Bears vs. Bulls. You're the best. I know you've been real busy. We do appreciate that. I can't say that how much as well. All right, everybody. Ciao for now. I'll see you at 8:30 tomorrow morning. It's Neil Nadera with the recap show. Don't go anywhere.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Sean. Welcome to the Profitex recap show here today. And what a day to go over. Adara, you had a little bit of everything today. And when I say things that you've probably not seen before, well, when was the last time you saw the SPY went $43 bottom to top? There was a halt in the VIX, a halt in the VIX. There was a halt down in Palantir after it had gone absolutely haywire upside. This stock actually halted down after it had gone up 25% in a single move. And yes, I'm not making that up. It went 25% bottom to top and then halted down on a pullback and ends up closing, I mean, not at the high of the day, but adjacent to the highs. It wasn't good for everybody. The Chinese names ended up the day close to the lows with down 8%. And yes, on a percentage basis, obviously, when you look at the SPY, I showed you SPY earlier, and the Qs here, only up 0.6. But you got to keep in mind, we were down 4 points at the beginning of the day. Then you were screaming up. So to close in the green after what we saw this morning, certainly very, very impressive. And it all started, Adara, with a rumor.
Yeah. So here's what happened. So apparently CNBC started this rumor. They came out afterwards and said they had seen something on their quote board that they misposted or I guess misquoted. So what did they see? Well, we had, to be fair, there was some context when even when I saw this, and again, we reported this regardless. I would have reported on it regardless because it's on X and it's moving things, and this was generally accepted as a story. So what happened was Kevin Hassett over the weekend had basically made some comments here about tariffs. Generally, talking about the White House and tariffs. Then we had CNBC reporting this morning that Kevin Hassett said that Trump would be considering a 90-day pause on tariffs for every country except for China. Again, a story that on its face is pretty reasonable. It's something you might believe. So then we had pandemonium in the markets. We went from bright red to bright green all at once, and then we gave up that entire move. Well, what happened then? Then we had CNBC reporting, actually, the White House is saying they have not heard any talk of this. No one from the White House knows what this 90-day pause rule is. To their knowledge, this is not a thing. And then we get officials from the White House, including White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, calling the story, and I quote, fake news. So that is the end of the wild and woolly pump and dump that shocked the world. And on that push to the downside after the rally, that's when you got the hold down in UVixie. That's when you got the hold down in Palantir. To be fair, I saw AAPL have like an intraday volatility hold a couple months ago. So now I'm not shocked at all anymore, truthfully. But $300 stock can do a halt intraday. It's whatever. But yeah, Palantir and UVixie, still super shocking. Then we had another intraday pump. I never found any concrete news on this. It happened right at 1 p.m. There was, like, I think about 10 minutes after that, some people were circulating on X that a Goldman Sachs risk manager, Josh Schiffin, I believe his name was, he had said, oh, it's time to buy. I'm feeling bullish now. Zero Hedge exclusively attributed this to the push to the upside. I'm not sure that's a fair characterization, but the timing is of note.
I saw the same post on X where you mentioned it. I mean, the timing was spot on for when it started to bounce. But like there was a lot going on when you had that 1 p.m. bounce. Like if you look at the cues right here, well, okay, so we pulled back into about 4:15 on that massive pullback that we had when it's like, oh, that's fake news story. And then it just held that as support. Well, it also double bottomed at a higher low. Like the market was double bottoming at a higher low when that post or whatever you're attributing the move to happened. So whether it's the SPY, I mean, I can show you, we've already looked at some of the bigger cap type things, like Apple at the same time had already made a firm bottom and put in a higher low, NVIDIA. Like all of these names were doing something that looked pretty bullish in the moment. I could pull up Walmart, which is the name that I was looking at that particular time. Like they were all pulling back into what was already established dip support and making this like descending wedge. They all had descending wedges into flat bottoms. So it's almost like they just all broke the trend at the same time. And then we can look back at it and say, well, this guy from Goldman posted saying that blah, blah, blah. But it seemed a little bit more technical than anything else. Like we'd had so much volatility that just sort of condensed the price action all over the place. And then we just exploded to the upside. But when we talk about this hitting everything, Adara, like we were looking at things like XOM on the daily, like these, like pulling back into massive levels, back down like 120 to 100, and then trying to catch a bit of a bid. Like stocks that we don't usually look too much at. Uber was an example of, you look back on a morning like today. Not that it matters. Like anything if you picked the long and decided to take a shot at it, that's all you really needed today. But I look back at that Uber, which we're trying to add to it late in the list, right into a support level, bottoming tail candle. Like if this isn't the bottom, it certainly looks really good. And stocks that bounced off a major support level, I'm going to really like going forward, relative to the ones I'm looking at you, Apple, continuously, relative to the ones that, well, they don't have anything that makes you feel confident about it or as confident about it. Kind of stopped out in the middle of nowhere. You've already broken major support. Like there's no consolidation level to work off of. It still has some more downside here on something like Apple. But we are expecting Levi's. We're going to have Michael Noss jump through. Levi's isn't until 4:10, I believe we're expecting. Yes. Keep in mind, retailers move. But this one's only a 5% short flow, which I was a little bit surprised with. The implied move's still 15%. However, it only moved 1.5% last time. So I'm a little bit cautiously, like at first I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a good mover. Retail in this environment, it's going to move regardless. But we'll see. And I don't know if it's coming. There's maybe somebody fat fingered in here, but they just took it down about 3% and then right back to where it was at the close. I don't think the numbers should be out just yet. Could just be somebody fat fingered. So Levi's down 6%, but that's because of the gap down overnight. Just a little bit of action here already in the aftermarket before the numbers even come out here. for sure. So that's the one earnings name we're going to be clued in on. Just still disappointed that it doesn't have a bigger short float. And then there's Dave & Buster's, kind of a smaller name, fun place to go to, 20% short float, and they come out at 415. This one moved 20% last time, and it's expected move of 21%. So Dave & Buster's play, we're expecting a little bit of play on this name. Yeah, that's what you expect the chart to look like when it's a 20% short float. But hey, it does give it some juice if they have any kind of positive news here. And listen to the earnings calls, because I think you've been hearing a lot of uncertainty from pretty much all these CEOs out there. So if you hear some confidence out of them, which I don't suspect you will, it could bode well. Fingers crossed for play, because 20% short float, 20% expected move. This is one we want to be able to trade tomorrow.
Yeah, all work and no play makes traders dull people, I guess. I mean, that's certainly the case. It certainly was not a dull day today. Currently what I'm doing is I'm going through X because I'm trying to do a deeper dive as to what happened here with this Kevin Hassett story. I went a little bit further on X, and so apparently there's also some people saying this rumor was started by Delta One, which is another really well-known account posting stock news on X. So I'm trying to find a little bit more out about that. One thing I do want to note as well, though, is that apparently he came on at 8:24 this morning, Kevin Hassett, on Fox News. He was asked here, would Trump consider something like a 90-day pause? The reporter brought this up. And honestly, Kevin Hassett didn't really comment either way. He just said, there's a lot to consider. Trump will do what he does, basically. And so that seems to have been misinterpreted 2 hours later as Trump is considering a 90-day pause. So Kevin Hassett really never said anything like that. Again, I'm still trying to figure out which account actually started this fake news, but for what it's worth, Delta One, the account that is widely considered to be the one that spread this fake news along with CNBC, I've seen kind of half and half. Delta One's deleted the post. So it's a little bit hard to do sourcing, but I will continue to look into this for you guys because I love doing this. This is what I live for. If I will find who broke the story, and I will find the fake news. And Levi's, I will give you those earnings too because they just came out as I was yapping about Kevin Hassett. So Levi Strauss here, adjusted earnings of 38 cents per share, above estimates of 28 cents per share. Sales of $1.5 billion versus $1.541 billion expected. So they did miss on sales. They did beat, though, on EPS. Net revenues up 3%. Organic net revenues up 9% here. So year-over-year increases, even with that sales miss, Neil.
Yeah, but not really moving that much. I mean, you want to see, with any positivity, you want to see this start to go. Now, I understand retail's been hit, and it's not a good-looking chart in the daily, and it's only a 5% short float, but you're not really seeing any kind of punch and follow-through here. The implied move is 15% here, and it was down 6 and is now flat. So you're getting a very muted move early. And on top of that, the other thing that might bode well for it going, or should, you'd hope at least, is the initial move before the earnings came out, somebody sold it all the way through the lows. Usually that means someone might have got trapped, but you're not seeing a heck of a lot of breakout here for Levi's. And as we said, this is basically just riding the lows and hasn't been that strong of a name. So on the lows, a little bit of a bounce. Muted move here. You're outside of the move by a significant amount. Down 1% when it was down 6. Implied move of 16%. That's not going to cut it, Levi's. No squeeze here. I think you're pretty much going to have to wait out for. I mean, Dave & Buster's, I think you give it a better chance with that big short float that you'll get some price action here. But you can buy their jeans. I don't know if you want to buy the stock after this action for sure. Shout out to you, Ron Williams. Appreciate you as well. Apple stunk today. I know I've been harping on Apple, but like you stand up and notice when we have that kind of a bounce and we stay underneath resistance. Most of the afternoon we're underneath that VWAP. Eventually it caught a bit of a bid with the buyers at 178, but it's just down 3.5% when we got such a nice rebound. Didn't do a very good job. The only name in big cap tech that I saw retrace all the way down to the lows on that pullback was Apple. It was Apple, and then it was the Chinese ADRs. Well, what do you think that's all about? It's about the risk with China, unfortunately. So I think Apple is a little bit in that penalty box. Felt so much better about what we saw. Like, look at Amazon's chart. I mean, come on. What do you like? It pulls back, holds the prior day close, and bounces higher all day. Look at Meta, same joint, pulls back, holds the prior close, trends up the rest of the day. What did I just type? Oh yeah, I typed on URA over here. I'm gonna I haven't looked. Google, same thing. holds that higher low. So pretty much all of your big cap tech names had the ability to hold up better than Apple, but hey, you notice those trends, you're able to find some trades in there for sure. I was asked a couple of times, and I don't know if you've said anything on this. In the chat, a couple people have mentioned that Tesla's bounced aftermarket here. A little bit. Nothing crazier than what you've seen from a couple of other names, which were already trending into the close. Like, yeah, it's gone a couple of extra dollars. There isn't anything actually happening on Tesla, no news story or anything like that. But you are seeing a little bit of action, just actually bouncing away from 238 here on Tesla. Ultimately, the rally at the close was good. I think the trend that you had is a good one for the market. It's almost every single stock that I pulled up today, Adara. Where we pulled back to after that initial ridiculous spike, and they're like, oh, it's fake news. That bid held almost across the board. Yeah. So it's almost as if like you were gifted with, once it pulled back, you didn't have to guess. You could just get along after and then hold that one the rest of the day. Now, I said this morning, and this is a kind of morning where, like I said, you could trade anything you wanted. So for me, I just thought, in my mind, Walgreens was free money because it has the buyout happening. So I traded that for trend inversion, and it didn't matter what you pull back into. The initial pullback, you were able to hold out, and some things held out higher than others, which showed some strength. But it was so good of an opportunity where you could have had Amazon, you could have had Apple, you could have had Tesla. The second it held one bid, it just started holding it again and again and again, and then it broke the trend. So like when you have liquidity events like this, VIX halting down, what are we talking about here? That's the moment where levels matter. Because when nobody wants to make a market and the algos pull their bids and offers, where the buying starts happening is about as good as you're ever going to get a guess at where support or resistance is going to be. Because the algos just told you where they're going to start buying again. And so if it bounces a second time, we'll try it the third time. And if it bounces a third time, we'll try it the fourth time. And if you did that on the strong names, you literally didn't have to have anything else right there. I do believe we should have
we have
David
some news
Busters.
too.
Oh, okay,
on
go ahead.
Broadcom. So thank you, Classic Gorilla, for putting this out. Whoa, Broadcom moving. I turned to look at my X screen, and about 30 minutes after you, or 30 seconds, sorry, after you said this, the headline popped up here in X. Apparently, Broadcom announced a $10 billion share buyback program. Here is Broadcom. I will pull up the chart here for AVGO for you, that we do have Dave & Buster earnings, which we'll get to in a minute. Broadcom popping here on this $10 billion share buyback program. Also, AI might be on watch here too, with Reuters reporting that the Trump admin has ordered federal agencies to appoint chief AI officers. This is part of a push within the administration to expand the government use of AI. Now, let's get back to Dave & Buster's now that I've talked about some other non-Dave & Buster's stories. So they missed here, 69 cents per share for earnings versus 71 cents expected. Sales, 534.5 mil versus 550.37 mil expected. So they did miss across the board. They are expecting capital expenditures for 2025 of less than $220 million, pre-opening expense of roughly $20 million. But I also really want to quickly address Levi's as well here, because they gave their guidance. They said their guidance is not going to be fundamentally changed, and they have not added any tariff-related impacts into their guidance. So that is of note. Levi's has not accounted for tariffs in their new guidance. Also, I continue to look into, while we had that talk there, I continue to look into this Kevin Hassett story. So it does seem like this story, which again came from a misinterpretation of a Kevin Hassett quote from an interview at 8:24 a.m. this morning on Fox. About 2 hours after the fact, this quote was misinterpreted by account, which seems to be a lot of accounts have deleted this post, but this has really been attributed to Delta One, which is a really well-known stock news feed. So anyway, I guess Delta One had misinterpreted this and tweeted that Kevin Hassett said that Trump is considering a 90-day pause for tariffs for countries that are not China. Then CNBC saw this headline and picked it up without doing their own due diligence, and that's how it really spread. So from what I'm seeing, people are attributing this to both Delta One and CNBC, though pretty much every account that initially posted this has deleted their account. Or not deleted their account, but they've deleted their post or their version of events. So it's a little bit harder to track. That being said, that's the general story I have seen. I'm just giving you guys my quick summary. This is something that honestly I am fascinated by. we may see a post on it in the future on X. Who knows? This is the type of thing I love doing. You know, I did my Sam Altman and Elon Musk after hours Twitter beef, so we might get one of those. But yeah, really interesting stuff. If I find out anything, you guys know I will let you know right away.
I got a question for you.
Please ask.
Because, like, okay, so first of all, that's one heck of a misinterpretation based on the facts there.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not like you do journalism for a living. Like, we're traders here, so like I'm not a professional journalist, but that's a heck of a misinterpretation. To relate it to trading, here's my question to you, Adara. Like, 'cause my first thought was like, oh, that's like a trader going long without a stop. But I'm like, no, wait a minute, no, it's worse than that. Like, what's that the equivalent of? Like that's the equivalent of trying, like, you don't even log into your account and you tried to buy something, you forgot that you needed to log in to be able to hit keys. Like, what do we even?
Okay, you know what that's
I
equivalent of?
can't figure an equivalent. Okay. Like, what's that equivalent to a trader making that?
Not that you're allowed, not that this is the thing you can do, but it's like you're team trading. You and your buddies are on a call and you're making a trade, and your one buddy's like, oh, yo, this is such a sick opportunity. They haven't really done their research, but it looks really good, so they take the trade, and then that guy takes the trade. He's calling all his buddies, oh my God, this trade's happening. Everybody's taking the trade. It's working. And then the first guy's like, oh no, I actually meant that I meant to go short here or whatever direction, right? And so then, I don't know, obviously this would have to be like a trade pod with a lot of money. So it's not a perfect analogy, but that would be the closest I can come to. Also, David Treziak here, $10 super chat. Thank you very much for the support for the show. Fabian, I want raccoons on the out. LOL, please do it. LOL, I doubt you get the movie reference. I don't off the top of my head, but yeah, good comment there. Thank you very much for the super chat, David Treziak. Also, Thomas in the chat shouting out my Edna Mode classes. I appreciate it, honestly. I said myself, I think they're kind of Edna Mode, and I'm loving it because that is an iconic Pixar character. And I actually had a boss once who looked exactly like Edna Mode. So
I love that character.
She's awesome.
I would say this though. I've been on the trading floor a very long time. If somebody, and this is one of the, if somebody you would call out, oh, I see this stock doing this, or there is this story. Because back in the day, you didn't have there was no X or anything like that. So people might have sources. And if somebody says something or says something about a report, you better be right when you yell it out that this is an opportunity on the trading floor. And it's not that you're trying to team trade or anything. It's just that oh, this is happening. This stock is moving for this reason, or these guys had those earnings, or this is hitting a key level, or the bid is dying. There's a chaser chasing this down. When you yell that out, you better be right, because if you end up blowing smoke and other traders are take shots at something like that, they get pissed off at you. I tell you right now, that's a great reference, because that's pretty much dead on. People would not be happy whatsoever. But ultimately, kind of a disappointment in Levi's that you're not getting more action. That speaks for itself. As far as Dave and Buster's goes, I mean, we thought there'd be a heck of a lot more play here. I mean, ain't gonna hurt nobody because it's not going any lower. But get on the dance floor here, play, and do something. It's absolutely flat as we speak. That's a Kid and Play reference, everybody. Yes, that's how old I am. Fantastic movie. I think it's a great one. But just very, very disappointing action on those names. To go over some of what you saw today, we didn't really do that deep dive into some of the ETFs. One interesting thing that you saw today was there wasn't a bounce in gold, which I think makes some sense. You know, if some risk came back on into the market, the last time when there was a dip last week on gold, it actually held a bid, which makes some sense because people going to safety would buy it back up. No, but today you got what I think what you'd expect to see. Market closed with some strength, GLD pulls back. Well, it's at that 50 period now on the prior high from February. So that February 25th level, that's a fantastic day. My daughter's birthday. But anyways, that February 25th level. So you're getting back into a logical support area for GLD. And for anyone, and I'm not a metals guy, but if you still think this move is fugazi, that's an area which would make some sense. I tend to like on the long term 200 periods, not 50 periods, especially in this kind of a market here. Everybody.
Oh, there's a catalyst actually in some of these healthcare names. Thank you. Sorry, specifically health insurance. So thank you very much to John Fernandez for putting this in the chat, saying Humana and CVS also reported they did not but I looked into it and they have a catalyst, so thank you for bringing that to my attention. Wall Street Journal reporting that Medicare Advantage plans are going to get a 5% rate increase, which is above the 2.23% bump that the Biden administration proposed. Here's Humana. This is quite the look for Humana. Here's CVS. I would also recommend looking at Cigna and UNH. As someone, I mean, honestly, all of these health insurance names, save CVS, are pretty spready, so they're all going to be at my watch tomorrow. But yeah, thank you for bringing that to my attention there. John Fernandez, our friend in the chat, Wall Street Journal reporting that there's going to be a pretty significant bump, basically double what we were expecting here for Medicare Advantage plans. Again, just a report from Wall Street Journal, but a lot of these health insurance names moving up nicely post-market. Again, Humana, CI, CVS, and UNH would be some names that I would say you could take a look at there. Also, it is worth noting that we had a bit of a move here on, or I don't know if we had a move here on NVIDIA, but it's worth noting NVIDIA reportedly closing their acquisition of Lepton AI, which is a cloud GPU provider, as reported by The Information. Broadcom, though, was moving, is still probably moving here, announcing a $10 billion buyback program. So that is my little summary there of semiconductor stuff.
There's nothing like when you sprinkle a little buyback on that bad boy just to make it look a little bit better. That's what we like to see. I don't care too much when, look, I don't care too much when they're selling, CEO selling. I don't care. Give me insider buying and give me buybacks if you care about the price of your stock. But one point, I know we were just talking about Humana as the stories, but one note about UNH, and first of all, I get it. I sold my UNH after what happened because I just realized I didn't know as much about, I'm a Canadian, I didn't know as much about the company as I thought. It was just a good company that made me money over the years, investing in it. So I decided I didn't want to own that stock anymore. But if we're being honest and talking about how these things have been going, there are things that were testing lows recently, and then there are names like UNH which were bouncing on, like coming into this week, you were effectively holding the top end of a range for UNH. When you look at this chart, distinctly different. I know healthcare has done pretty well. If we come to my chart for a second, Fabian, distinctly different from a lot of other names on this daily. Like you'd already made a bottom, and you were bouncing off the 200 to then retest the 50 to then bounce off that. On top of that, and again, to each their own. Like I'm saying this and doing this analysis by telling you I'm not going back into this stock. And if I decide I want to be back in a healthcare name, I pick a different one and try to vet their business a little bit better. But you're also you've already broken a downtrend and then held the support level after breaking a bit of this downtrend here on UNH on the daily. So it does look constructive off the 50 pre-moving average. That confirmed today. And you get a positive news story after hours. Yeah, this does look pretty spicy, potentially for some kind of a swing. Rainmaker in the chat saying Marvell is making a move. Why would Marvell be moving? Yeah, that is a decent spike on Marvell. Not used to seeing, usually if there's anything happening on Marvell, Marvell's spiking into the high and then pulling back a little bit. That looks like it's a legitimate. It got to 55, pulling back. 6% day for Marvell. This one held up beautifully. Just want to point out, Marvell is one of those charts that looks a lot like the Apple chart, where it doesn't make any kind of a distinct bottom, but oh boy, did it come back into some levels. So you're talking the 2023 bottoms on Marvell here. So it pulled into a ridiculous dip buy zone. If I didn't own other chip names, and like I bought some ARM today, this would have been one that would have been on the shopping list if I wasn't trying to consolidate and own less names.
Yeah, I think one thing I want to mention, I'm seeing a couple more headlines here. We have Mercado Libre not moving too much. Again, it's like an $1,800 ticker, so few people that are not me are probably looking at something like this for a day trade. But we're apparently looking to invest 34 billion reais in Brazil this year. So investment plans reportedly for MELI. Then we have McDonald's on watch here. This is just, I think, more of a DEI-related headline, shareholder proposals, but just keep an eye on McDonald's nonetheless. Again, the biggest post-market headlines. We had Broadcom here announcing that they are having a $10 billion buyback program. So AVGO, certainly on watch. I did make an after-hours move. And all of these health insurance names. John Fernandez, shout out to you for bringing these stocks to my attention. MOH was another one you mentioned as well, but keep an eye on CI, HUM, CVS, and UNH, which Neil just went over there. Wall Street Journal reporting that Medicare Advantage plans are going to get more than double the rate increase that we were really expecting here. Now that we have the Trump administration. So that was just going to be on watch there. Those health insurance names as well, all plays to be aware of. for tomorrow. And it's worth noting too, CVS was actually the top ticker in the S&P 500 in Q1 2025. So nice little look here. I actually just posted this on X and expect to see some more S&P 500 roundup posts. But yeah, CVS, top ticker for Q1 2025. We had Philip Morris, Newmont, AT&T. So yeah, keep an eye. You can check that was on X at TTV Research for all of these plays. But yeah, CVS had a great first half of 2025. Seems like it's poised to continue.
That is impressive, 50% for them. I mean, it's not always been great for them. Here we go. We just had Norman special. Normal special. Thoughts on how the 50% additional tariffs on China will play out? Well, like everything else, you're headline to headline. Things can shift in real time for sure. And I think you have to, the problem with trading anything that is going to be this, whether it's KWeb or Alibaba or whatever you might be looking to trade China, Apple as well, you are at the mercy of one story can move you pervasively one way or another. I take my cue from what the market has done. And I look at the risk appetite for everything today that bounced and then look at everything China related. This is what KWeb looks like. Trend down, doesn't really hold. Like the initial dip levels that I talked about that everything else held, KWeb did not do that. You look at Apple relative to some of the other mag names, and you end up holding the bid, but you end up much lower, down 3.5%. So I think that's the one place. If we're getting a temporary rally, I don't like these as much. And I even said so when looking at Alibaba, that I kind of expected we'd take another leg down tomorrow, maybe test the 200 period moving average. Like that's what I'm looking for. Like if I'm looking for a trade tomorrow, it'd be down into the 200 on BABA. But like anything else, you're going to have overhead resistance. You're going to have headline risk. You have to see how the session goes overnight. I think this is a market where you want to react to what's happening as opposed to just try to get stubborn. Like I think this is going to go this direction, and I'm just going to take it, and nothing else matters. That's a way to get into trouble. Like the mean reversion today was, like I said, it didn't matter what you picked. Once it was clear that we were turning, any mean revert off the bottom was absolute gold. You just had to pick one and go with it. And if you stuck with your shorts, which I was in 2 shorts before, and then made it all in 1 long. 2 longs actually, but that's all you had to do today. I think that's what you want to do for sure. It is already 4:30, so I do want to remind everybody, hey, it's roll call time. But if you want to do roll call, you got to make sure you're in the chat. If you want to be in the chat, then you have to hit that subscribe button. It's a subs only chat, so join in. Give a big shout out to Fabian and Ramin on our 1s and 2s, and Andres on the social. Definitely give a big shout out to the midday boys. The Bash brothers were back because we had Sharif and Joey options. Shout out to Obi who came in last week filling in for our good friend Sharif, and shout out to my man Sean on the desk with me. And of course, I mean, all the news that we have, Trump all day long giving you the goods, CNBC blowing stories, and Adara and Brennan making sure that you guys get the right story. And we can't go anywhere without thanking Bears versus Bulls. When we have a volatile market like this, your job is even harder because we get record viewers, and keeping it all together and keeping everybody happy and engaged in the chat. You do a great job of it. Thank you so much, Bears versus Bulls. But let's get our roll call on. Let's thank the market, too, for being amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much to the market. Thank you to Bears vs. Bulls for everything you do every single day. Thank you to Neil, Sean, Sharif, Joe, Obi, Brendan. We have Fabian, Ramin, Andre, and we have everybody in the chat. Also, we have GameStop. This seems to be moving on the old news. They literally just reposted the same old Ryan Cohen filing showing that he bought the same amount of shares for the same price that initially had the stock running back on Thursday. There were also a lot of GME fans on X basically saying that because GME outperformed the NASDAQ over the last 2 days, that this is its time to shine. And no, I am not joking. So that was what, to my knowledge, that's been running on. Shout out to Daryl Flynn, shout out to Monty G, Dilwar Singh, Rivian Millionaire, Cold Blue, or Cold King, sorry, Andrew Chow, Charlie, Sharif's mom, Mui, I Speak Spanish. We've got Rivian Millionaire, Swizzler, Sniper. We have Sean Higgins, Never Always Ever, Normal Special, The Piper, Aldrin Geiler. We've got Los Pollos Hermanos. We have Scott Tomlinson, John London, Zero Gravity Zen, Sports and Stonks, TH, Stevenson, HN, Donkey Trader, Stay Focused Always, and Keep Stein, Sam, I Am Carter, and we've got Neil Roberts in the chat. Thank you guys so much for being here with us every single day. These markets are wild. The news was wild. The fake news was, you guessed it, wild. But, you know, we've already had a ton of catalysts to be aware of. GameStop, apparently, again, Broadcom. We have some earnings, and we had these health insurance plays. But you can watch out for those tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. and also most likely on our watch list.
And Sharif's mom is back in the chat, so that's all that really matters around here. What up? I haven't seen you around in a while here, so make sure that we'll have some fun tomorrow with that. Of course, it's not actually Sharif's mom, or is it? Well, either way, we'll be back tomorrow to find out, to see what the markets do right here at 8:30. This has been your Profitex recap show, and we'll see you bright and early to do it all again at Trader TV Live. See you tomorrow.